beautiful day for a mic check. Mic check. Oh, and he never shuts up. Doesn't. Oh, my VPN's sitting up there. I changed my VPN early to see if we would make it through the show today without any interruptions. So we'll see. We'll see what Israel has in store. Thanks, guys, for putting up with me for the late start today. I just didn't feel comfortable starting with where I was at with my knowledge. Admir, good to see you. Looking forward to talking to you tonight. I understand you were picking fights on TikTok today, and that you gave somebody your address to come fight you. So we'll talk about that later, dude. I guess you had a good morning this morning. Because I'm Swiss, we known to be slow. Oh, maybe I'm Swiss. I might be Swiss. I'm just operating on what we call Mormon Standard Time. Except for I'm communicative. We don't do that with the Mormons. We really communicate those things. Good to see you guys.
Thanks for the
I had a good time hanging out last night on TikTok. Thanks for everybody who joined us. We stayed up late. We had a good time on TikTok last night. Everybody's laughing at Admir. I will say this though, Admir. I did go in there to the live that you were in because I understand that you were getting a lot of heat and that I am being blamed for your political beliefs. So I just want you to know that I went into that live for about 12 seconds and I said, I'm going to pick you guys off one by one open mind at a time. Admir was just the start. And then I left and it created some chaos there. So I might start doing that. I might just start being I might start embracing the role of boogeyman on TikTok. It might be my new favorite thing to do. We'll see how long I do that. But everyone woke up and chose violence. I had a good time last night. Great job, Amanda. It was a great live that she hosted last night. It was good to have Trump up there, and it was good to see Oslo and some people I haven't talked to before that were really interesting, really educated people. So I appreciate you guys being up there. Oh, Jen, sorry, I didn't respond to Jen's comments earlier. Good morning, Jen. Again.
Morning. What smart ass thing do you have to say today?
To you?
Uh-huh.
I would never.
Or is that already done since?
I called Jen this morning to tell her we were going to be late 30 minutes. And she answers the phone like this, what? And then I laugh. And she's like, what? What?
I think I said yes.
Is that what it was? It's just terrified laughter. I'm just terrified of you. That's all. It's no big deal.
I mean, there's a lot of people who were calling it last night that the show was going to be late or if at all. But
that's fair. It would have. Last night did cause the delay because I would have probably gotten through this information last night, but it wasn't a planned thing. I just it started last night with two people talking about that 5-year-old autistic girl who was like being held captive by ICE, and they just wanted to blame the parents. They were claiming that the parents had abandoned the child. It's like they're recording her from 30 feet away. She was not abandoned. And she was, and then they're like, they pulled her out of a car where it was hot. It was a convertible. I enjoyed that. Good night.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're going to be doing it again tonight. Do you want to talk about the possible plan for tomorrow or do you want to wait?
Yeah, we can talk about that. So I think what we've decided to do, because Thursday we never have a show, and I do feel like that kind of like fucks up the momentum a little bit. So for now, things are going to stay the same Monday through Friday. But on Thursday, we're going to do a 2-hour show. I'm usually just too tired to wake up and prep a whole show after Wednesday night, but I can do 2 hours. And I think on Thursdays, I might do like more fun stuff. It might be a different theme on Thursday, something a little more maybe like conspiratorial. I've really hesitated playing a lot of like the conspiratorial stuff around Charlie Kirk, but I think if we frame it in a way that like we're not necessarily buying these conspiracy theories, it might be a fun day on
Maybe
Thursdays.
maybe like a play on words, like maybe Theory Thursdays.
Oh, yeah, I like that. I like that.
Like play on
Theory
some different
Thursdays,
theories. Theory
palate
Thursdays.
cleansers. Yeah. I
Yeah.
also want to. Am I TikTok? They'll kick you off if you like vape anything, right?
I think what they've been doing is they put up an alert that you shouldn't be consuming substances or something.
Gotcha. Well, I just like I obviously don't get paid for this. I think I can get paid for this. Like I think there's a way to link your Amazon or something to YouTube. But I just wanted to tell you guys about something. This is unrelated. This is called a Molly pen. You guys have ever seen these Molly vapes? There is a herb called Maline. I think it's Maline or Malign, Mullein, and it's used in like teas or as a vapor or in a vaporizer, and it like helps clean out your lungs. So if you're somebody who might need cleaning out of your lungs, there's these things. It's Mully. You can get them on Amazon. This is I don't know what the other flavor is, but
That looks like a tampon.
no, I'm never gonna be able to unsee that.
and my computer screen froze for half a second. That it when it froze, it was just, it looked like you were holding a tampon.
Great.
So
I'm not a vapor. I don't use nicotine a lot. Like I've told people that I use nicotine pouches for a while. I still sometimes use them. But I'm not like but I do, there are other things that I ingest into my lungs through smoke that are not tobacco related. And I just tell you, like you take this, you'll cough a little bit, but you'll feel it in your lungs. So great job, Molly, Mully. Over, I think it was like 20 or $30 over on Amazon. There you go. Pay me, Molly, wherever you are. Pay me for the
there you go.
advertisement. All
Well,
right. While you're here.
since I'm here, we're just getting going. It looks like, I wonder if this means that the angry incels will show up since we're later today. If they'll show up sooner.
Yeah,
on
they
YouTube.
had to roll out of bed.
Yeah. So we're just getting going. Started a little later today, so we still have that gift goal. It's the top left-hand corner. So Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Super Chats, all go towards knocking out that balance. If you're watching on TikTok, I just combined TikTok and YouTube into one
TikTok
word.
does sound cooler. I actually like that better.
So if you're on TikTok, make sure you're liking over there. It looks like we've got about almost 7K likes. So if we can get that to like 25 or 30K, that would be dope. So, and then also if, the gifts over there help us keep our HR guy. Jay's doing his damn best to get us banned off of TikTok. So if you guys could, like I said, like, gift, share the live, all that good stuff, so that we can try to avoid being taken down, that'd be awesome. So if you haven't subscribed to us already, if you're a paid subscriber on any of the platforms, we do member only events. We have been doing a watching of a show, a Mormon dating show.
We've been doing a watching of a show.
My words are just fucking, I'm just going with it. I'm just letting it happen.
I might use that.
I'm just letting the words go. So just letting it. It's just, who knows what's happening today. But yeah, so if you can join us for those. So that's been fun. We also got to learn some other fun facts about some RTP lore. So I mean, you guys, if you're not a subscriber, you guys missed out on the lore.
Let's just say what it was. We read old DMs from the person who catfished me. We'll just call it for what it was. And we don't do that publicly, but privately I'm a little more open. Yeah, so there's all that fun stuff. So also check out the link tree in our bio. We're on most social media platforms. We've got merch. Jay's on Cameo. And we upload these episodes to Spotify, and that reminds me I've got to upload a couple from the other day. So there's all that. What do you call a pyromaniac who hates bills? Who hates bills? A pyro I don't know. Bernadette. I love that one. That's one of my favorite ones that you've done so far. All right, look, somebody said you hope I'm still feisty like I was yesterday. Maybe not. But I do want you to know that I've been a strong proponent of Mom Donnie. I like Mom Donnie. I like that he's offering I'm not even going to say radical change, like sensible change in New York, but I think his campaign was just ended. I feel pretty comfortable now saying that I think Cuomo's going to win. And I'll just show you. I'll show you the video. I think this is going to end him forever. And as much as that pains me to say, like, we report honestly here, I'm never going to sugarcoat it. I don't know how he's ever going to bounce back from this.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tony Holt Kramer, founder, president of Trumpets USA. I have a very, very special favor, a very special interest today to share with you. I am directing this show basically to people who are in New York. I'm asking you, please, pay attention and get behind Andrew Cuomo.
That's right. Andrew Cuomo. Get behind Andrew Cuomo, guys. How are we going to recover from this? Also, gravity is a motherfucker.
The next mayor. You know, I know he lost the mayoral candidate in June, the election. He didn't make that. June 24th. But this time.
This lady's name is Tony Holt Kramer. She runs a organization called the Trumpets, which is just a bunch of like senior women who have reconstructed their faces, and they hang out in Palm Beach and love Donald Trump. And she's the founder of that organization.
He is a necessity. You cannot. He's running as an independent against Democrat Madami. We cannot. Madami.
She's gotten 0 names correct so far. She's got Andrew Cuomo and Madami. What is her face is Listen, I no shade at anybody who gets fillers or like. There's a line though. There's a line that you cross that you can't come back from, and she's crossed it.
We cannot let that happen, folks.
That's right.
That just can't happen. You must get behind Andrew Cuomo. You must think Andrew Cuomo. Say it in the morning, I'm voting for Andrew Cuomo. Say it at night before you go to bed with your press.
She's only 45 years old, Kelly. She looks great for 45.
So I'm going to vote for Andrew Cuomo. Anyway, love you all. Remember, Andrew Cuomo, Andrew Cuomo, Andrew Cuomo.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm Tony Holt Kramer.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. I love you. I love her. I can fix her. That's one I can fix. I don't want to hear shit from you, Jen. I can fix this one. I got this. Meanwhile, with people coming out and just destroying Madamni, Donald Trump is just doing what he always does, and he's giving the American people exactly what they voted for and exactly what they want. How do we come back from this? Here's Donald Trump's post today on True Social. Some of the highest quality 24-karat gold used in the Oval Office and cabinet room of the White House. Foreign leaders and everyone else freak out when they see the quality and beauty. Best Oval Office ever in terms of success and look. He's just got these fucking... They laid them out on the table. They're so fucking out of touch. How do you working class people be like, Donald Trump is my guy? Like, all you have in common with Donald Trump is that you hate immigrants at this point. Are you all spray painting all the tacky shit in your house gold? This is so stupid. Sounds like early ChatGPT wrote that. Yeah. They should train a AI just on like MAGA. There should be a MAGA AI. That would be actually pretty incredible. Who can do that? Do we know anybody that can do that? I want to show you this. This Pope Leo, Chicago-born Pope Leo. Shout out Pope Leo for I wouldn't even say being woke. This is the kind of like Catholic and religious person that I can get along with you. You're allowed to have whatever opinions you want. In this case, The Catholic Church, I think, has decided to honor Dick Durbin, who's been a senator for 40 years and who's a Catholic, and he's being honored by the Catholic Church as, I don't know, like Catholic friend. I'm not sure. I don't know what honors they give out there. And reporters came to Pope Leo and asked him how. Did I say Pope Leo? Is that Popo Leo? Did I say Popo? It is Pope Leo, right? Leo the 14th, I think. Anyways, the reporters are like, how could you? He's pro-choice, and this is such a good response by Pope Leo. I love this.
Just wanted to ask one thing that has become a bit of a divisive subject in the U.S. right now, with Cardinal Supich giving an award to Senator Durbin. Some people of faith are having a hard time with understanding this because he is or rather, he's for legalized abortion. How would you help people of faith right now decipher that, feel about that, and how do you feel about that?
I'm not terribly familiar with the particular case. I think that it's very important to look at the overall work that a senator has done during, if I'm not mistaken, 40 years of service in the United States Senate. I understand the difficulty and the tensions, but I think, as I myself have spoken in the past, it's important to look at
Jason, you guys hate immigrants. Shut up.
Many issues that are related to what is the teaching of the church. Someone who says I'm against abortion but says I'm in favor of the death penalty is not really pro-life.
Boom.
So someone who says that
they're asking about Dick Durbin.
I'm against abortion, but I'm in agreement with the inhuman treatment of immigrants who are in the United States, I don't know if that's pro-life. So they're very complex issues. I don't know if anyone has all the truth on them, but I would ask first and foremost that there be greater respect for one another and that we search together both as human beings, in that case as American citizens or citizens of the state of Illinois, as well as Catholics, to say we need to really look closely at all of these ethical issues and to find the way forward as church. Church teaching on each one of those issues is very clear.
Thank you.
James, when you're having your temper tantrums, please try not to use all caps. Such a good response by Pope Leo there. That's the response. You shouldn't, by the way, you can be, obviously, you can personally be against having an abortion for yourself, and you can be okay with other people making that choice for themselves. That's not that hard. That's what's crazy. And specifically, like the men on the right, could you guys shut the fuck up for a while? Could you shut the fuck up about abortion for a while? Or like forever? I don't know why this is such an important issue to all of you guys. I can only assume it has something to do with controlling women who keep rejecting you. But could you just shut the fuck up for a little while? It's getting old. We want to have a conversation without you guys coming in and talking about murder. You're like, murder, it's murder, it's murder. What about Palestine? We love that. We love what's going on in Palestine. We're huge fans of that. F the Pope, that's not a Christian church. I'm here for the Christian on Christian violence, by the way. I'm here for you guys all calling each other not Christian. I love it. Ironically, it's like the worst people among us that are always like, that's not a true Christian. They're not hateful enough to be Christian. Christian love is actual hatred. I read a couple comments here. Admir says, I said what I said, and I'm not apologizing for shit. That's why we like you. And Sala said, I'm also pretty open privately. Thanks, Sala. I feel like I set myself up on that one for a while. That's gonna be clipped. They're okay with that. And yeah, blowing up fishing boats. They're okay. So even the people in here early, they're like, we only don't like illegal immigrants. Nah, that's not true, because every time somebody who's not an illegal immigrant gets arrested or detained or thrown in a detention center, you guys don't say anything. And when we bring it up, you're like, oh, well, mistakes are going to be made. That's just the way that it is. You don't. You hate all immigrants. Just be honest about that. If it was all about illegal immigration, if it was all about like protecting our country from crime and from drugs, you wouldn't be supporting ICE running around grabbing people who have nothing to do with crime, nothing to do with drugs, and mistakenly taking people who have every right to be here. So I just don't believe you when you say that. In fact, I'm gonna skip over 4. Where's this one? Actually, I might have taken that one out. No, it is. It's here. I'm going to 13, Kim. I'm going to jump ahead here, but here's an example. Here's an opportunity for you folks that only hate illegal immigration. Here's an opportunity for you to prove that that you like people that are doing it the right way and you advocate for them.
On September 16th, they went to the Federal Building in downtown LA for what they thought.
That's right, Mr. Cool. This is the Gay Communist YouTube channel. You made it. I don't know how you got in. You must have learned the secret password, but welcome. This is the meeting of the gay communists. For the first half of the show, we are communists. So we're going to take everything that you have. And then the last half of the show, which is a lot more fun, is really fucking gay. And you will be required to kiss somebody of the same sex. So be ready for that. But welcome to Gay Communist YouTube.
Was Barbara's final step in her path to citizenship, an interview for her green card.
The USCIS representative looked us right in the eyes and said everything was looking good.
That's until Tucker says the rep asked Barbara to accompany him to make a copy of her passport. She left the room and he says she was detained, eventually told that it was because she missed a 2019 court appearance of which she had no knowledge.
We let her out of our sight. She never came back. We were lied to. We were tricked in order to have her separated from the attorney that we brought with us, specifically for any kind of worst case scenario like this.
Barbara was sent to a facility.
You're right, pucker up, bitch. You get me.
In Adelanto, California, and then one in Arizona. Her husband sent her urgent court filings for signature. These would likely halt her deportation, and he believes the detention center withheld them for a week and still isn't processing them in a timely way. He got a call at 4 a.m. Monday morning from his wife saying she's in Louisiana. He fears this is the last stop before deportation to Central or South America.
There is a serious clock ticking.
Do you see how they said, like, we like legal immigrants? So this is somebody who came here legally, fell in love, started the process to become a legal citizen by marrying an American citizen. The process has been severely delayed, due in large part to the number of asylum seekers that came to our southern border. So this is somebody going through the legal process who is obviously communicating with the courts, was trying to go to court, went to court, and got arrested. You don't love legal immigrants. You hate all immigrants. And every time I play a video like this, every one of you in the chat is like, good riddance, fuck them. We just don't believe you anymore. It was never like, that was never your intention. It was never what you wanted.
Here, if my wife is sent from this country, if we cannot stop that, it very realistically could be years before she's able to rejoin me here in the United States.
The newlyweds.
No, she came here legally first. She came here legally as a visitor. Are you aware that people are allowed to come here without like a visa? You know, she went through the legal process.
Says his wife came to Los Angeles from Brazil 7 years ago to see what life was like in the States.
We did everything by the book as much as we could. This is how we treat the people who dream of becoming Americans.
Yeah, it says in there that she missed a court date that she was never made aware of. You guys that's the thing. Like, if you care about legal immigration, you wouldn't be like, oh, well, there was this tiny little loophole that they missed, and so now throw her in a detention center, throw her in a concentration camp. We just don't believe you. And the thing is like, I got to be honest. If you are on the internet today and you are hate watching a show and you're screaming about immigrants, nobody fucking believes you. Nobody fucking believes you. Just go find yourself a nice friend and talk with them. Go outside, touch grass, but stop lying to us and be like, we just want it done the right way. They did it the right way here.
And we have reached out to DHS about the status of Barbara's case. It wrote back to us asking for some more specifics, of which we provided, and we'll let you know what it says in response. In the meantime, Tucker says he's trying to find an attorney in Louisiana to bring those important court documents to Barbara. He says he'd do it himself if he could, but the rule is only an attorney can do it. That's the very latest in Pasadena tonight. I'm Rachel.
None of you can get it right. Yeah, and she overstayed her visa. She didn't have a visa. You're wrong. How are you wrong about every detail? It's crazy to watch you guys in real time. And this is why I joined the live last night, is because all you want to do is knee-jerk defend ICE. You are the most bootlicking, cucky bunch of people. Like, why do you guys worship the police? ICE that was formed after 9/11 to hunt down terrorists, which we all know, like, that we had the Patriot Act. We had all these like infringements on our civil liberties after 9/11 that everybody agrees is wrong, except for you guys. You're like, yeah, I need the government to be involved in everything. You know what I hate? I hate when I take a shit and I'm not sure if the government is watching. I would love it if the government was watching. It's actually the only way I can shit. Otherwise, I'm consistently constipated. You guys got to get it the fuck together. I don't know why you're so goddamn hateful. I really don't. Why do I worship illegals? I just love illegals. I just worship them. I go to the Church of Illegal Immigration. It's really cool. In fact, there's a lot of legal immigrants that go there too. And what we recommend for them is that they leave, that they go across either the northern or southern border, and they go visit that country, and then they sneak back in, not through a border crossing. That's how much we worship them. And honestly, I don't really respect anybody here in this country that didn't come here illegally. So if you were born in this country, I don't respect you. You must come here illegally for us to respect you, and then we will worship you openly. You're correct about that. Thank you for pointing that out. I don't know if I've been clear enough on that on this show, so I appreciate the MAGA folks here clearing that up for everybody. All right, this is the type of shit that I haven't covered before, and I try not to cover. But I feel like if I don't cover it, everybody else does anyways. And so I'm just going to preface this. This is a man named Ryan Mata. I've seen almost every video Ryan Mata's put out. You all send it to me. I don't know Ryan Mata's political leanings. I know he references Ian Carroll a lot. In a video he did this morning, he was quoting a man named Ian. It's Ian Wenster on Twitter. Ian Wenster is an actual like fraudster. He was part of that AlphaCon shit in Utah. I'm fairly certain he's been involved in multiple lawsuits. I'll double check that, but all of his friends have. So I don't know. I don't know about his sources, but I will say that I found this relatively compelling. So I want to show this. It's about 4.5 minute clip of some of the research Candace Owens has been doing.
This just changed everything. Holy shit, wake up America, shit's getting crazy. All right, check this out. So if you aren't following Maze Love 14 over on X, definitely give this woman a follow. Huge fan, she's the best co-host in the game. And she's been laser focused specifically on this Candace Owens, and holy shit did Candace just bring the heat. So you gotta check out this tweet. Let me just read this. I mean, this is so freaking big. Like, check this out. She says, wow, Candace Owens puts the higher ups at Turning Point executives on blast. She challenges them to publicly release a statement about her explosive statement regarding Charlie Kirk's position on Israel. She goes, about 48 hours prior to his death, Charlie Kirk notified Turning Point USA, Jewish donors, and a rabbi that he had no choice but to abandon the pro-Israel cause outright. Listen to her entire statement, guys. This is absolutely changing everything. Nick Fuentes, there was no signs. Israel had no reason to want Charlie Kirk dead. What the fuck? He got the call, bro. Check out this clip.
Let me just say this. Candace Owens has gotten a lot of things wrong in the last couple of years. She was wrong about the origins of Kamala Harris's birth. She appears to be wrong about Brigitte Macron. She was threatened to be sued. Candace Owens regularly takes her audience down a road of unsubstantiated conspiracy theories. Oftentimes they turn out wrong. So I'm not vouching for this research. It may turn out to be wrong, but I find it at least compelling.
You don't hide it. You don't try to obfuscate it. You don't try to say, well, wait until the memorial event before we start looking into who murdered him. You tell the truth. And
oh, by the way, yeah, I see what you say, Eric, about Nick Fuentes being a schmatzi. If you'll notice, I've stopped referencing Nick Fuentes because I do feel like there's like this knee-jerk reaction to be like, oh, he's saying what we're saying, but he's not saying what we're saying. What he's saying is like Jews are bad and that Jews are a problem, and that's not what we're saying here. We're saying Israel's a problem. So I've stopped even like using him as a proof. I actually think what the host here was saying is that Nick Fuentes got a lot of heat the other day by calling out Candace Owens and basically saying that when she came out and said that Charlie Kirk was turning on Israel, and that she wanted Netanyahu to release that whole letter because Netanyahu's like, oh, Charlie Kirk wrote me a letter saying he's a friend of Israel. I think she was right. I think Nick Fuentes was wrong again. Nick Fuentes is like, I read the letter and it's clear that Charlie Kirk loved Israel and he was on the side of Israel. I didn't think that letter was clear at all. You can read it. It's like a 4-page letter. What I saw from Charlie Kirk is him saying, historically, you and I, Netanyahu, have been aligned with this the Judeo-Christian values and in our hatred for Muslims. But recently, you've gone a bit too far for my audience. And my audience doesn't like that you're doing a genocide in Palestine. And so we need to talk about this. We need to talk about messaging, and we need to talk about action, because it's getting more difficult for me to defend this relationship with my audience. The people like the Zionists ran with that, and they were like, look at this letter. This letter confirms. Look, it says, I think Charlie Kirk says something like, it's been the greatest, or like one of the greatest joys of my life to like support Israel. And they're like, see? But then they missed the rest of the letter. I agree. Candace Owens, when she said Netanyahu did not accurately depict what was in that letter, I agree. I think that Netanyahu was selective with that letter. And I also don't think that anybody saying Charlie Kirk was anti-Israel would be correct, because in that letter, he's clearly not. He's clearly trying to bridge a gap between his audience and Israel, and he's trying to help with messaging. More alarming than any of that to me, however, is just how much right-wing content creators and right-wing paid propagandists are working with politicians and foreign leaders on day-to-day like messaging. It is extremely coordinated. And they're also very aware of what the problems are, and the way they talk behind the scenes, they speak like almost like, I don't know if you've ever been part of a company, like part of an executive group where you have like leaders in the company that don't respect their workers. That's how they speak about Republicans. That's how they speak about their audience. They all speak about you like they know that they can just dangle a carrot and lead you around, and that you'll just say what they need to say, or I mean, what they want you to say. That's how the letter read to me. It was like, look, dude, this is my audience. I kind of control them. We need to adjust this messaging a little bit so they're pro-Israel again.
You tell it immediately. And I don't think they're capable of doing that. And I have an idea as to why that is. I think the same.
See, Amy said, shutdown is Dems' fault because Republicans have a mandate to do whatever they want. Yeah.
Same people that were pressuring Charlie are pressuring them. In fact, I know that for a fact. So they might need my help. Okay. I'm going to state this, and I'm going to challenge Turning Point USA executives to issue a very clean statement saying that I am lying if this is not true. About 48 hours before Charlie Kirk died, Charlie informed people at Turning Point, as well as...
By the way, that's also a game she keeps playing where she makes these veiled threats at people, or she makes these accusations at people, and then she's like, well, then why don't you come up and call me a liar publicly, because then we can have a lawsuit. That didn't work very well with Macron, because she tried this with Macron, and Macron's like, all right, cool, we'll sue you. And she's like, fuck. The next day, she's going to her audience like, I need money. I'm going to have to pay for a very expensive lawsuit where I lied about Macron's wife.
Jewish donors and a rabbi that he had no choice but to abandon the pro-Israel cause outright. Okay, Charlie was done. He said it explicitly that he refused to be bullied anymore by the Jewish donors. Can you guys answer? Did he express that? Did he also express that he wanted to bring me, Candace Owens, back because he was standing up for himself? And then did he...
I'm going to pause this video for Wes. Wes, these videos are all available online. You can go find them. This is commentary, so I'm going to stop the video a lot. I didn't even want to stop it right there. I did it for you. I did it just to bother you, Wes. And we're going to do it for 10 more seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Both of us can play petty.
Just 48 hours later, conveniently catch a bullet to the throat before our onstage reunion could happen. It's a yes or a no, okay? Let's stop this ditching. Let's stop the dodging. Let's like explicitly, I want to hear from Turning Point USA that I'm lying about that. I want you to say, no, it was just, you know, he was feeling a little bit of pressure. No, I want you to literally answer what I have just said. It either happened or it didn't. I'm either making it all up or it happened exactly as I'm saying.
Fire, but she didn't stop there, and you're going to want to see what else she said. But you got to do that by going down and following Mage. The link will be down there to this video. So what does this mean? I mean, this changes fucking everything. Everybody who wanted to tiptoe, the Benny Johnsons, the Cullen Ruggs, the people that just want to be, oh no, there was no Israel ties. I mean, Israel only has an entire Wikipedia page dedicated to assassinations. Israel had no reason to want Charlie Kirk dead. This is Charlie Kirk, the most pro-Israel ally ever, was going to turn on them? I don't see it happening. Bullshit, bro. The writing's on the gosh damn walls. Wake up, America.
It's not lost on me that, like, this picture is right behind him. I can't figure out people like this. I still can't figure MAGA out. Like, you guys are in this all-out civil war with each other about the deep state, the CIA, the FBI, and Israel, and yet you're all still, like, coalescing around Trump. Who in this administration is not doing exactly what Trump wants? You think that they're doing stuff without Trump's knowledge about any of this stuff? And if they are doing it without Trump's knowledge, if they are doing it, like, is he just too fucking stupid to figure it out? I cannot for the life of me figure out people on the right who are willing to criticize Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, Benjamin Netanyahu, AIPAC, Ted Cruz, but nobody will criticize Donald Trump. Not one of you're still going to leave that up, never surrender. We'll talk about Donald Trump surrendering here in a little bit, but it is weird to me that you all recognize that Donald Trump is your party. He's everything to this party. Donald Trump was front and center at the weirdest fucking memorial I've ever seen in my life. Have you ever seen a memorial like Charlie Kirk's? That was so unbelievably bizarre. I showed, yeah, I'll say, the people in my life that are not political, I had showed them the videos. I've showed them multiple videos of Erica Kirk, specifically the one where she walks out, the one where she says, "I forgive you." Maybe that's how she is. Maybe she's like that all the time. But I've seen, probably 3 or 4 hours worth of content of Erica Kirk, who regularly seems normal. That was a performance. That whole entire thing was a performance. And it didn't make a lot of sense to me because, like, I've seen Charlie Kirk everywhere. I've watched Charlie Kirk for years. We've consumed his content. We played his content here. You know what? Who was never with Charlie Kirk? Stephen Miller. You know who you rarely saw with Charlie Kirk? J.D. Vance. Tucker Carlson. These were not his close friends. Like, he had a group of very close friends that he ran Turning Point USA with. How come none of those people were speakers at his memorial? How come all the speakers were like the most powerful people that didn't seem to have much of a connection with him? I don't know how MAGA, like, you watched that and you watched Trump in that moment just do a campaign speech. No personal stories about Charlie. The closest was like, Charlie believed in forgiveness, not me. I hate my enemies. I don't know how you guys all watched that and then also hold the conspiracy theory. How are you like, this is fishy, but not the memorial. That wasn't fishy. Donald Trump's rambling, incoherent, hour-long campaign speech at a memorial, that wasn't weird. But all the other stuff's weird.
Anybody who's been promoting this trans slop, trans shooter agenda, they're fucking trash. They're carrying weight for this administration. They're selling you out. They're getting paid. They're getting access. They're getting money. They're getting fucking bonuses. They're getting sponsors. They're getting featured on Rumble. They're getting it all, baby. And you want to know what you're getting? Higher electricity bills, higher gas prices, the dollar's hyperinflating, your government's robbing you gosh damn blind, and they're bankrupting your ass. You're giving 53% of your every paycheck you make to a government that hates you. And these ass clowns over here, the Benny Johnson, the Cullen Ruggs, they're fucking carrying that weight, bro. They're stroking. They would lick the fucking floor at Mar-a-Lago to take a selfie with fucking Trump. They ain't even swamp media. We'll call it slop media because that's all they do is just serve you loads of slop. You wanna know what slop is? If you were to drain the swamp and there would be that repugnant, repulsive, stank ass fucking goo that's at the bottom of the swamp, that is the slop, the trans narrative slop that they are fucking serving you because you so badly want to stay divided, right? Don't come together, America. Don't you dare do that. Don't you dare come together and stand united because only 24% of Americans actually are pro-Israel at this point. That's it, 24%. Yet 98% of our government is pro-Israel. And we're supposed to believe that voting our way out of this is going to happen? That's what we did here. We voted for Bukele 2.0 and we got a fucking Bush Light wrapped in shit.
All right, there it is. Take that for what it's worth. I don't agree with everything that he said necessarily, but it is interesting. And more though, just like socially, it's interesting. It's been very, very strange for me to watch this reaction, but like the support for Donald Trump doesn't seem to change. That's been very, very odd. All right, I'm going to show you the creepiest thing I've ever seen on Fox News. This is a news organization, folks. This is a real segment that Jesse Waters did.
He brought her back to Trump Tower. He shut the whole floor down at Trump Tower just so he could be alone. One of his classmates said this: he's tall and awkward, but he was the thing, the guy. He had a lot of girls running after him. Another said he's a ladies' man for sure. He's really popular with the ladies. He's tall and handsome. A lot of people seem to think he's pretty attractive.
These seem like quotes from Donald Trump. Remember when Donald Trump used to call in as John Barron to radio shows, or he would like talk to reporters and he would use an alter ego? And the way that this is coming off, like this part, a lot of people seem to think he's pretty attractive. That's what Donald Trump would always do, talking about himself. He'd say, oh, a lot of people think Donald Trump is really smart. Oh, a lot of people think that this is actually a really good business deal. Like somebody would be like, Donald Trump had a terrible business deal. All the banks are mad at him. And he'd call in and he'd be like, this is John Barron. Seems like a lot of people feel differently. This is a weird thing. And he would do it about like being a ladies' man. He would do it about like his dating life. Donald Trump would do this all the time. I'm almost certain that these quotes are fake, but it is fucking weird that we're covering this on Fox News.
Ladies, he's tall and handsome. A lot of people seem to think he's pretty attractive. So imagine a guy brings you back to Trump Tower and the whole floor is shut down.
If the guy's a Trump, that I would believe it. And I know a lot of people are probably going to want to criticize him, that he's being a prima Donald, no pun intended there. But
what? The word's prima donna. If you say prima Donald, you can't say no pun intended. You can't. You just made up a new word with Donald Trump. You did a pun. What do you mean no pun intended? Prima Donald is not a word. It gets more weird. This isn't the weirdest part.
Intended there. But he obviously did for security reasons. The security needed to sweep the floor. They shut down the floor. But man, this guy's got game. I mean, 6'7", and he's got a whole floor at Trump Tower for a freaking date. I hope something good came out of that date. I mean, I'm not going to say what.
Something not too.
Those bitches better have put out. That's what you're saying. If he didn't get some, why? He's a Nepo baby with a bunch of money. What has he done? But also, why is this a segment? Mostly, I want to go back. Why the fuck is this a segment on Fox News?
Good.
Dessert.
Not too good.
Really
He needs to wait.
Homemade dessert.
Okay.
Their private chef.
The Trump cookie. He brought her back to.
The Trump cookie tastes like filet of fish. Yeah, that's a real thing that Fox News is doing. As soon as I play a CNN quote today, we're gonna have all the Republicans in here like, fucking CNN, that's fake news. While the government shuts down, Bernie Sanders is not. Oh, motherfucker. Is that the wrong link again? Did I do this again? God damn it. Let me find the right link. Bernie Sanders has decided he's going to keep working through a government shutdown, and he's going to do the work for the people. There we go. Pull this up here. This is a letter that Bernie Sanders, is this the right one? I think it's the right one. Yeah, he wrote this letter to Boeing. He said, Mr. Ortberg, I'm writing to urge you to immediately go back to the negotiating table and bargain in good faith with the 3,200 union machinists in Boeing in St. Louis who have been on strike against corporate greed for the past 9 weeks. As you know, these workers are fighting for a decent contract that reflects the dedication and hard work of Boeing employees, similar to recent contracts that have been reached with union workers at your company across the country. So these Boeing workers aren't able to go to work. At the same time, the Boeing CEO made $18 million in bonuses, and these folks are making $18 an hour, which isn't enough to live, and they don't have good benefits. It's come to my attention that the Machinist District has sent Boeing a proposal that could end this strike today, a proposal that has the support of 90% of its union members. In my view, this is a very reasonable offer. It includes a fair wage increase a $10,000 ratification bonus, and a modest increase in contributions to Boeing's 401k plan. Let's be clear, what the machinists in St. Louis are proposing is not radical. It's not, as you called it, a publicity stunt. In fact, it is less generous than the contract you ratified last year with 32,000 machinists in Washington state that included a 38% pay raise and a $12,000 ratification bonus. I recently met with a number of your striking workers, and what they described to me was shocking. Some of your workers told me that they make as little as $18 an hour and need to work 2 or 3 jobs just to make ends meet. Others expressed their deep sense of betrayal that Boeing chose to eliminate their health insurance at the end of August, forcing them to spend as much as $2,500 a month out of their own pockets for health insurance through Cobra, which many of them cannot afford. That is simply unacceptable. As we all know, 5 years ago, Dennis Molenberg, the former CEO of Boeing, received a $62.2 million golden parachute after 346 people died in 2 fatal airplane crashes on his watch. Last year, David Calhoun, another former CEO of Boeing, received a golden parachute that was projected to be worth up to $45 million after he failed on the job. You have received $18.4 million compensation package for just 4 months of work. I'm sorry, I think I said 6 months. Over the last decade, Boeing has spent $68 billion not to improve the safety of your airplanes or improve the working conditions of your plants, but to buy back its own stock to enrich its wealthy stockholders and executives. This is precisely the type of corporate greed that the American people are sick and tired of. If Boeing can afford to provide you with $18.4 million in compensation for just 4 months of work, it can afford to provide its highly skilled machinists with a $10,000 ratification bonus. If Boeing can afford to provide over $100 million in golden parachutes for your 2 previous CEOs who failed at their jobs, it can afford to provide decent retirement benefits to all of the machinists at Boeing. If Boeing can afford to spend over $68 billion in stock buybacks and dividends from 2010 to 2019, it can afford to treat all of its workers with respect and the dignity they deserve. As you know, Boeing received $27.9 billion from the U.S. government contracts last year alone and has received more than $15.5 billion in corporate welfare since 2000. The American people do not want their taxpayer dollars going to large corporations that take health care benefits away from their employees and refuse to negotiate in good faith while providing obscenely high compensation packages to senior executives. Mr. Oathberg, do the right thing immediately. Reinstate the health insurance you took away from your workers. Sit down at the negotiating table. Bargain in good faith and consider accepting the very modest proposal approved by your workers. Sign a fair contract with the machinist district that provides better wages, better benefits, and safer working conditions for all your workers. That is why people fucking love Bernie Sanders. Republicans are all on a vacation right now. They're all going out and they're all getting their Fox News hits. They're all doing media appearances. Many of them are going on vacation for this government shutdown. And Bernie Sanders, at 374 years old, is out there grinding for working people. The conversation we had last night on TikTok, and I think I got maybe some heat for that because I think that AOC is the best path forward for the Democrats. I think she should be the nominee. Even if she's not the nominee, I think her running in the race and the popularity of things like universal health care would force other potential nominees to adopt her positions, even if it's not her. That's what American people care about. That's what American people are are begging for right now. Everybody in the middle class, you recognize what's going on. We all see where the wealth is going. This one big, beautiful bill and the Trump tax cut, where did that go? That went into the pockets of wealthy billionaires. And all across the country, they're slashing jobs. Look at this from ADP today. We're not going to get jobs numbers from the Trump administration because the government is shut down, but ADP has provided jobs numbers that came out today, and it is atrocious.
So breaking moments ago, private sector employment declined pretty sharply last month. And as Matt Egan noted earlier, this could be the only major monthly report on hiring that we get this week since the...
She's 35 now. She turns 36 next year. So yeah, she'd be old enough.
The September jobs report is expected to be delayed because of the government shutdown. The aforementioned Matt Egan is here with us now. So what do we learn in this report?
Yeah, well, Kate, this is more evidence of a slumping job market, right? ADP said that private sector payrolls fell by 32,000 jobs during the month of September.
There's a bunch of zeros you can't see.
There's a bunch of, there's about 3 zeros that we can't see.
We used invisible ink.
Yeah,
don't worry.
But look, this is a surprise because the forecast was for a gain of more than 50,000 jobs. And this was a double whammy of bad news.
50,000 positive 32,000 negative. If I did my math right, they were off by 82,000 jobs. Where's my MAGA friends? What happened here? What happened? Every jobs report is terrible, and they're all being revised to be even more terrible. What happened, Republicans? Let's talk about this for a second, since you're here. Donald Trump was going to bring back American manufacturing. He was going to bring back good, high-paying jobs. What's going on here? Tell me. How'd this happen? Is it just fake? I'm guessing. Tim, I read it. You don't need to keep posting it. Nobody knows what the fuck you're talking about. You don't need to keep explain it differently. Don't just keep copying and pasting that. CNN's fake news. There it is. There it is. This is it. Don't worry, I've got other sources on this, but this is ADP actually. All right, guys, mute Tim for a while. Tim can't figure this out. That's great, Tim. I see your same message for the millionth time. What happened here? Got real quiet.
Because ADP also revised lower the prior month of August to reflect a loss of 3,000 jobs. So that means that 3 out of the past 4 months, the private sector, according to ADP, has lost jobs. So where are the jobs?
Oh, it's Jerome Powell's fault. If Jerome Powell would have lowered rates, that banks, do you guys know what Jerome Powell can do? He changes the amount of the percentage of interest that banks charge each other. If we would have had this 0.25% reduction earlier, all of these we would have had massive job growth. Just say you don't know. Just say that you don't know, please.
Losses. Well, surprisingly, one of the categories that's leading the way down is leisure and hospitality. That's bars, that's restaurants, hotels. That's something to keep an eye on, right? Because if consumers are cutting back, that's where they'd be cutting back first. Also, construction, losing 5,000 jobs. We know that construction has been very much exposed to high interest rates, to the housing slump, to the immigration.
I don't know a single person in the construction industry who feels pretty good about where things are headed right now. I don't know anybody. I grew up, my dad's a general contractor. My brother-in-law is a general contractor. I have friends that work with very large management companies related to construction. What happened? It's going to boom. We're going to build all these new houses. What happened? Nothing? Nothing from you guys? Okay. Certainly wasn't our massive immigration policies for sure, right? Sure wasn't that. This is the one that leisure and hospitality. What he said there is Americans are tightening their belts. They're not traveling as much. That's true. But we also have seen significant declines in travelers from other countries. So places like Miami, Florida, all of Florida, Orlando, Los Angeles, Texas, any beach area, the whole eastern and western coast, people aren't coming here anymore. People aren't visiting New York. They're not visiting Chicago. They're not visiting D.C. Tourism is down in every major city, and foreign tourism is way down. There are parts of this country that if tourism goes under, the whole city collapses. The whole town collapses. I'm thinking of Leavenworth in Washington for my Washington friends. Are the citizens of Washington going to offer enough to the town of Leavenworth to keep that going? I'm thinking of towns where I grew up in Utah that are built around little small towns that are built around visits to Arches National Park and Zion National Park, Bryce Canyon National Park, Escalante Grand Staircase. There are these towns that they literally only function with tourism, and they're all struggling right now. And these are all of these places I'm talking about that's Trump country. Those are the places you drive through and it's like Trump 2024, big sign, handmade signs. I'm not going to Leavenworth this year. Not that Leavenworth, by the way.
Crackdown. Manufacturing down by 2,000 jobs as well. That's ironic because the Trump administration has these high tariffs. They're trying to prop up manufacturing, but manufacturers, when you talk to them, they say there's so much uncertainty over those tariffs that a lot of them are pulling back right now, and they're actually cutting jobs. Now, ADP measures just...
That's a good point about the Ryder Cup. Yeah, then when tourists do come here, we have all these belligerent MAGA dudes just screaming at them because... America's full of a bunch of fucking assholes now. You can't even like bring other people here because we just treat them poorly.
Private payrolls, right? So this does not tell us what the government, in particular the federal government's doing, but we know the federal government has been cutting jobs massively. Now this ADP indicator, it kind of has a mixed track record when it comes to predicting the more important monthly jobs report put out by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. But as you mentioned, we're probably not getting that BLS jobs report on Friday because of the government shutdown. The BLS is dark right now. So that's why investors and policymakers have to rely on this ADP report, and the picture it's painting is not a pretty one, Kate.
Sala said, I hear you came here illegally. I'd like to worship you. I feel jaded. No pun intended, though. That was spelled with my first name. Thank you. Let me check messages from Jen, too, to get these. The government shutdown is the Dems' fault. This is from Coldy Locks. The government shutdown is Dems' fault. Instead of voting to fund the government, the Dems demand free health care for illegals. This is on the Dems. I guess I'm going to have to get to that. Goldilocks, you're going to be surprised to find out that you were wrong about that. Natalie said, high school robotics team I coach. Jen, can you mute real quick? Just give me feedback. High school robotics team I coach went to an elite off-season event. Top teams from around the world. We came in third. Congratulations, Natalie. I remember you telling us when you were going to go do that. And Renee said, can Jay define the words? I'm sorry for being late on this, Renee. Can Jay define the words tick tube? No, I don't think so. What's up, Jen?
No, that was my word. I mean,
do you want to define it for the folks?
It's when you mix two things, when you're saying things too fast together. That's the definition.
Thanks.
It's okay, Renee. All right, so we've got about 2 hours left of the show. We do the show each day, Monday through Friday, from 9:30 to 1 Pacific time. It is date night, so we will be on later tonight on TikTok with Jay's Main RTP Talks, and we'll have the box open so that if you guys would like to join over there, we'll be doing that tonight at 6 Pacific time. So if you guys would like to come and debate over there, that will be happening later today. The gift goal, I think, is that the total? Did you update it?
Yep.
Okay. So he's got the updated gift goal number in the top left-hand corner. We need to knock that out by the end of the show. So Venmos, Cash Apps, PayPal, Super Chats all go towards knocking out that remaining balance. So if you guys could help us out finishing the goal sooner rather than later, that would be great. We got to talk to our quick, fast, in a hurry friend. So
HVAC came up last night. That was enjoyable for me.
Yeah, so
maybe not for you guys.
I mean, it's whatever, but yeah. I mean, I was, guess, slightly disappointed that Dave and HVAC aren't the same person. That would have been something. But anyway, if you haven't subscribed to us already, please do so. Wherever you're watching. So if you're a paid member, subscriber on any of the panels, you can join us for member-only events that we've been having on Mondays. If you disagree with RTP currently, if you'd like to come up and have a conversation with him, the Venmo username is my Discord. You can send me a message on Discord and I can bring you up to talk to him in real time. You don't have to be in the comments. Check out the link tree in our bio. We're on most social media platforms. We've got merch. Jay's on Cameo, and we upload these episodes to Spotify. So yeah, there's all that. What's the longest word in the world?
What's the longest word in the world?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Smiles. There's a mile between each S.
Jesus. Jesus. Just a reminder for those that are in the chat. I wasn't paying attention when Jen was talking. If you do want to come up and talk to me, there's a way to do that. You message Jen on Discord. It's JENNDUBB1. It's the same as the Venmo username, and you can come up and you can join us live. For those of you that are asking questions, I do see some of your questions, but I don't want to get too derailed. I will answer this. Do I really think Kamala would have the world's respect? She can't answer questions. It's always a word salad that she never answers. She has to speak off a teleprompter. Yeah, I do think that she would have the world's respect. I think people respect people with good intentions who are honest. Kamala Harris spent a lot of time not talking on teleprompters, but like you don't get to say word salad and be a Donald Trump supporter. Donald Trump doesn't make any fucking sense, ever. Every time he speaks, you guys have to interpret what he said. There is never a time that Donald Trump comes out and says something that makes any sense, and you guys always have to interpret it. The world literally openly mocks Donald Trump everywhere. Like our allies are our enemies are openly mocking him, and our allies are exasperated by his stupidity. I think that a sock that somebody had spent 3 years jacking off into, it would be a better representation for our country than Donald Trump. I think people would have more respect for that sock because it would shut the fuck up. I don't know. I can't think of anybody who's ever run for president who would be less respected worldwide than Donald Trump. You worship him, and so you don't see it. But it's just like every other cult. You guys see it the same way. Like, you guys probably don't know the prophet of the Mormon church, but the people he just died, actually. The people in the Mormon church will say he's the world, like the greatest man ever, and they worship him. And if you heard him talk, you'd be like, what did they see in that? That's what everybody else sees with Trump. Everybody who hasn't spent the last 8 years worshiping him and defending every dumb shit thing that he did, they all see him for what he is, which is an unabashed dipshit. He's insane. We played his speech yesterday. He makes no fucking sense. Even at the end of the negotiations, like the government shutdown negotiations, they didn't even trot him outside to take questions because he doesn't know. There's no way Donald Trump could explain in any detail what's happening with the government shutdown. In fact, I think it was Destiny. There's like a viral clip of Destiny that has went around, but I would issue the same challenge. Find me any time ever in Donald Trump's entire life where he talks substantively about any policy, where he explains in any detail a policy. You can send those to Jen. I'll play him live. That's a crazy challenge. He's been in politics now for 9 years. That you should be able to go back to yesterday and have Donald Trump explaining a policy in detail. You can go through 9 years of footage and you won't find a single time where Donald Trump explained a policy or a function of government in detail because he's fucking stupid. But you don't know that. And you're the only people in the world who don't know that. You're in this circle of delusion, and the rest of the world openly mocks him. There is nobody in this world. There's not a single world leader who doesn't know exactly how to play Donald Trump. He's a fucking joke. He's an embarrassment to the United States of America. He represents what the worst of us. He brings out the worst of us. And it's because he's a very arrogant nepo baby dipshit. So I hope that answers your question. In fact, we'll just talk about it. This is how stupid Donald Trump is, and more importantly, this is how like in a cult that you guys are. Because I remember the election. I remember all of you, every day in debates. It's America first, no new wars. We don't want to be the world's police. We're going to spend this money on America. That's what we do here. I'm tired of us sending all this money overseas. I'm tired of the military being put overseas. No new wars. Then we get this announcement from the White House today. Assuring the security of the state of Qatar by the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America and in recognition of the enduring alliance between the United States and the state of Qatar, it is hereby ordered. Over the years, the U.S. and Qatar have been bound together by close cooperation. I don't know about that. The state of Qatar has hosted United States forces, enabled critical security operations, and stood as a steadfast ally in pursuit of peace, stability, and prosperity, both in the Middle East and abroad. Our commitment: the United States shall regard any armed attack on the territory, sovereignty, or critical infrastructure of the state of Qatar as a threat to the peace and security of the United States. That's what your president just said today. If anybody attacks the territory, sovereignty, or critical infrastructure of Qatar, they have attacked the United States. Was that on the campaign trail? Or did this maybe come after Qatar has been lining his family's pockets? Is this? We're just going to ignore the fact that Qatar gave Donald Trump's kids and Donald Trump's business $2 billion like 2 weeks ago? We're going to ignore that? It's a protection racket. You guys are the biggest fucking losers on the internet. Donald Trump's running a protection racket where he's getting paid to use the U.S. military to protect other countries. And what did we get from it? We got dick. What did Trump get from it? His family got $2 billion. He got a new plane. He has all of these real estate deals now going on in Qatar. But we got nothing. So this is what you voted for Donald Trump to get paid by these other countries so that he can use our military to protect them? By the way, I'm actually like, I don't really hate this. The thing is who's attacking Qatar? Who's attacking Qatar right now? Anybody? Republicans? MAGA? Anybody? Israel. You think Donald Trump is actually going to attack Israel? If he does, I'm going to be the first one to be like, fuck yeah, Donald. Fuck yeah. I'm just saying this goes against what you guys believed in. And this shows like how quickly you will change your mind on everything. We didn't necessarily have a problem with this. You guys did. You ran on this. And that's the alarming thing with Trump is no matter what he does, you just flip. Okay, we support it now. Got it. That's our problem with you. Like, that's why it's hard to even like engage with you in a discussion, because no matter what, you will just take his side. Even if it is diametrically opposed to what you were saying a year ago. A year ago, all of you, no more regime change wars. No more foreign money going to other countries. Why are we supporting NATO? Why are we giving Ukraine money to protect themselves? We're all like, well, because we have an agreement and that we're supposed to protect Ukraine. Fuck that, dude. We got people here in America who need the money first. Fuck Ukraine. Then it's Qatar. You're like, well, that makes sense. I mean, they did give Trump a bunch of money, so we should probably use our military to protect Qatar. It's not me that has a problem with this. It's you guys. You don't actually have any beliefs. Your entire belief structure is just Donald Trump. Donald Trump came out tomorrow and he's like, new rule. I get to kick every man above the age of 18 in the dick 3 times a year. And you must travel to Washington, D.C. At your own expense and line up while I dick kick you. You'd just be like out there like, this is what we voted for. Do you know what the problem with America is? Not enough people are being kicked in the dick. That's what I love about Donald Trump. He says it how he is, or how it is. He knows how to solve problems. And we're going to solve this problem one dick kick at a time. Oh, I love it. Can I get a 4th, please? You'll go back in line. Just get back in line for this shit. You literally stand for nothing. There is not a single thing that you guys claim that you stand for that Donald Trump hasn't done the opposite, and you'll just defend it. Name one. What are these things that Donald Trump's doing that are so good for you? What are these campaign promises? Well, there's immigrants are terrified. That's good. I do want immigrants to be terrified. That's what I voted for. I don't really care if it collapses the economy. I know Trump said that it'll boost the economy and that everybody will be making more money. And what we're seeing is the economy collapsing. People are making less money, and a bunch of companies are laying off workers. But at least the immigrants are terrified. That's when you guys said that this was about cruelty and we said it was about jobs, and now that the jobs are all fucked and it's all we have left is the cruelty, we're like, yeah, it was about cruelty the whole time. Everything we say about you guys is right. When we call you fascists, you are. The irony of fascists is like most people who are fascists don't know that they're fascist. Fascism just requires you to be like blindly loyal to a leader. And a leader who's on far-right authoritarian, who scapegoats groups of people, who uses the military against its own people, sets up concentration camps, just what every fascist ever does. But when Trump does it, it's like, actually, you guys are the fascists for calling him a fascist. He's literally outlawing outlawing anti-fascism. How the fuck do you outlaw anti-fascism if you're not a fascist? What are you afraid of? Well, I don't like that they go after the fascists. Yeah, that's kind of the point. World War II, Normandy Beach, bunch of fascists storming the beaches of Normandy. Probably a lot of your like grandparents or great-grandparents. They were there. They were all Antifa. But now that's the enemy of the people. Now Antifa is the enemy of the people. Anti-fascism is gone out of style because fascism is in, isn't it, MAGA? It is in. You're loving it. All right, let me go back. I think I skipped one. Let's go. Yeah, let's jump. I'm going to jump into the government shutdown, and then we'll probably show this Bernie video for the end. I've talked about it for like weeks. I want to play this clip from Mueller, she wrote. I didn't know that's who this was. This is the person behind the account Mueller, she wrote. And she explains something that I think anybody who's followed Project 2025 or this channel knows, that this was all part of a plan. It was all written down. Like, they needed the government to shut down. They were always going to shut the government down. No matter what happened, they were going to shut down the government. They were never going to negotiate with the Democrats. Again, it's written down. And you have to be an absolute fucking moron to see what's going on right now and be like, it's the Democrats' plan. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine? Like, they wrote down the plan. They're like, when we are back in office, we will shut down the government because that gives the Office of Management and Budget more leeway to cut programs that they don't like. Who wrote that? Who wrote that? Oh, Russ Vought wrote that chapter. Who's the OMB director? Oh, Russ Vought. Oh, okay. Yeah, but they wrote it down in 2022. They made this plan, or 2023, they made the plan. They wrote it down. They explained who was going to do it. The guy who wrote the plan is the guy who's the OMB director right now. And what's he talking about doing? He's talking about getting rid of programs that they don't like. And all it takes for MAGA is their dipshit leaders going, guys, guess what? This is actually the Dems' fault because the Dems want to give insurance to illegal immigrants, which is a lie. And if you know how to operate the internet, like 30 seconds of searching, you would know that that's a fucking lie. But you don't care because you just want to buy into it. So the plan that they wrote down and are enacting right now, they've convinced everybody with an IQ under 40 that this is actually the Democrats' fault.
I'm Allison Gill. You may know me as Mueller, she wrote on social media, and I have some extremely important information for you concerning...
Talent available. Stick around, because in about 5 minutes, you're going to find out that nobody's giving illegal aliens free health care, and you're just a fucking idiot. You're going to figure that out here in a second. You're going to find out real quick that everything Republicans are telling you is a lie because they just want to cut government programs, but they never take the blame for anything. The whole game is just blame Democrats. So you guys just fall for it every fucking time. Honestly, do you guys not have search engines? Do you ever read anything? Do you ever hear something that they say and go, I ought to check that out? You might want to start doing that.
The looming government shutdown. Republicans want you to believe that Democrats are somehow in charge of the government and that a shutdown would be on them. That is a lie. It is a lie concocted to paint Democrats as responsible for all the things that Trump is going to do in the coming months, which he would do regardless of a shutdown. He just needs a scapegoat to help keep Republicans in power. Now, I want you to listen closely to what I'm about to say, and I want you to share this with everyone that you know on every platform. The Republicans do not need a single Democratic vote to fund this regime. Let me say that again. Republicans in the Senate do not need a single Democratic vote to fund the government. Now, I know many people would argue that 60 votes are required in the Senate to advance the funding bill to the floor vote because of the filibuster. However, Republicans are in the majority in the Senate. They have 53 votes and they only need 51 to change the rules to pass a funding resolution with a simple majority. To those who might argue, though the Republicans will never change the 60-vote filibuster rule, I'd like to draw your attention to the fact that they did so just 12 days ago. They wanted to confirm 48 Trump appointees all at once, but needed 60 votes to do.
Somebody help Mr. Tops. You just called Antifa anti-fascist, so do you not have a search engine, my guy? What do you think Antifa stands for? It's shortened. Do you see the two words next to each other? Antifa, anti-fascist? Do you notice how there's a lot of similar letters there? Anti is the first part, and then FA. The FA is the start of fascist. Good Lord. Good fucking Lord.
Do it. So they changed the rule, requiring only 51 votes. They can do the same thing here by changing the rules to fund the government with a simple majority. So if you hear anyone saying...
Which is what they're doing, by the way. Just so Republicans in the House today are trying to change the rule for a simple majority. It's what they're doing.
Have to have 60 votes, or that Democrats are somehow blocking this. They're lying. And they know they're lying. They just did this 12 days ago, and they can do it here if they truly want to fund the government. But they don't. They want to shut down. They've said as much. And the Trump regime even leaked a story that Trump...
Come up then, Lone Wolf. Message GenDub1 at Discord and come up here, Lone Wolf. You can come up and debate me. You get to destroy me in this debate. Illegals literally get a whole bunch of health care benefits that taxpayers don't get. You're full of shit, and I'm going to explain it to you in a minute. With receipts. Stick around.
Trump will fire massive amounts of government employees and withhold congressionally appropriated funding if the government shuts down. But I shouldn't have to point out that he's been firing massive amounts of government employees, and he's been withholding congressionally appropriated funds with the government open. This is a fear tactic. It's a lie. And it's a blatant attempt to shoulder Democrats with his horrific policies. Do not let them gaslight you. They do not need 60 votes, and they know it. Again, please share this with everyone you know.
All right, let's talk about this. Let's get into the meat of it. This is why we started late. Because I wanted to make sure I had the answers. I wanted to make sure that the things that these Republicans were saying publicly that I had an answer to, whether they were right or they were wrong. But first, let's talk about what Trump said. Trump, and by the way, is being openly partisan. For you guys that are like, oh, this is the Dems, they're doing this. For anybody who is going to defend this, Trump's going to take this opportunity to be the petty, single-digit IQ fuck brain that he is, and he's just going to go in and he's going to fire Democrats because he wants dumbass loyalists all around him. Look what he's got behind him. Dumbass loyalists with literally no qualifications to do their jobs. All sitting behind him, smiling awkwardly while Trump says this.
Inch closer to a government shutdown. This morning, you said you might do a lot of layoffs. If DOGE is already reducing the federal workforce, why is it necessary to link more federal jobs cut to a shutdown?
Well, the Democrats want to shut it down, and so when you shut it down, you have to do layoffs. So we'd be laying off a lot of people that are going to be very affected, and the Democrats, they're going to be Democrats. As you know, this country, no country can afford to pay for illegal immigration, health care for everybody that comes into the country, and that's what they're insisting.
They lie to your face, and you just buy it. Here's Andy Biggs saying the same shit. They're all saying the same shit. Every Republican has the same message. Andy Biggs says, with this, I think Chuck Schumer put this up. He's responding to a Chuck Schumer post where Chuck said, this is a lie. Not a single federal dollar goes to providing health insurance for undocumented immigrants. Not one penny. Republicans would rather lie and shut down the government than protect your health care. Chuck Schumer, fact check, true. Andy Biggs says, fact check, false. Democrats own this shutdown. House Republicans passed a bill to keep the government open, and Democrats refused. Your own state advertises health insurance for illegal aliens through Medicaid. Stop lying to the American people. All right, he's talking about the New York state of health, and I went through the New York state of health, and there's different funding options for the New York state of health. There's a federal Medicare dollar or Medicaid dollars. None of those dollars are allowed to go towards illegal immigrants. Any funding that is there for people who are here illegally, that funding is done through city and state taxes, and states are allowed to do that. So there is zero federal funding in the New York State of Health official health plan marketplace for people who are here illegally. Not $1. We looked it up. Not one. And by the way, you've got Google. Google right now, do undocumented immigrants get access to Medicare? Just Google it. You don't have to listen to me. You don't have to listen to them. Google it right now. Do undocumented immigrants in America get access to Medicare? Just right now, do it. If I see anybody else saying the same shit, again, I'm just going to have to assume that you didn't Google this. What's up, Jen?
Hey, someone else is waiting to talk. It's not the name you said. Colin, I don't remember the name, but it's not that one. So there's someone else
William
waiting to tell. Yep.
All right, I'll jump down there. What's up, William?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, what's on your mind?
Am I live on the show right now?
You are. Yeah, you're live. Yep.
Okay, yeah, you sound different than over the stream. I was trying to catch up. I think I just caught up with the stream. So I'm going back a little bit, but you're still talking about MAGA and Trump.
Mm-hmm.
I have a little different of a mental model for what he's doing. And I don't know. I just wanted to bounce this off of you and hear your take on this. I've got less of the factual background. So, stuff about illegal immigrants. Do they get health care or not or whatever? I mean,
They don't.
I don't know.
No, they
I
don't.
Know, right? And I have
Yeah.
to read something, right? I'd have to actually read something first before I said this or that.
Fair.
But with like a model in observing Trump, and I've been, I've been ostensibly quote unquote pro Trump since he went down the escalator or whatever, right?
Sure.
But that's due to a whole myriad of other things. And so in any case, I think what he's doing is more attempting to gather consensus. Like, this is literally his role. This is what he does. If you read Aristotle would have called him the charmer. This is the kind of person that you get in a pure democracy who ends up reflecting the will of the majority and to a certain degree creating the ideas. Aristotle even says, like, the masses support him because they think what he says because he tells them to think it. So there's this sort of like reflective reality, right? He is kind of like a little reality generator for these people. So
it's like he creates like an alternate reality and they go with it. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely, yeah. And this is the problem with mass democracy, and I don't mean a problem like mass democracy is, let's say, like just ontologically wrong or something. Like, it's not just morally wrong at the outset, but it has a problem in that crowds can be swayed by sophistry, as we see all the time. So there is that problem. Now, there also is the reality of the American bilateral system, and there's a lot of people who have joined up with the MAGA movement because it is a cult of personality. It's not ideologically driven. It's more like vibes driven.
Yeah.
And you have, the Weinsteins coming out and saying, oh, the left is having these problems, so we're going to move over with these people. And we have this sort of, French tennis court left-right paradigm that's like very new in human history. This is not something that we've had for more than a couple hundred years. So it's kind of running its course.
Well, we've had it. We've had this before. We've had this in Italy. We've had it in Germany. We see it playing out in places across the world. Turkey, for example. We've seen a similar, even more recent history in Russia. Yeah, we've seen this before, where somebody with charisma convinces a majority of the people of a bunch of lies. We've seen that before. It's called fascism.
Well, I mean, the NSDAP is a little bit of a bit of a stretch, but I think I understand what you mean colloquially with fascism. But the degree to which we have coordination between government and industry is always a funny concept, right? Because we all want it to some degree. It's just like, how does it take place?
Yeah,
And
we do want. Yeah, but this way is like, I know you referenced the NSDAP. Like, I don't see much difference between the NSDAP and MAGA. I honestly don't. Other than one of them has the name socialist in it.
I mean, at least the NSDAP had like an aesthetic vision that was well articulated.
Yeah, ours is dumber. Yeah, so ours is dumber.
Ours is the MAGA's WWF. So like.
So how did you wind up on? How did you wind up with MAGA then? You said you've been on board since.
Well, what I see, so I was in the Navy, but I went to college. I didn't really fit in the Navy. I've been an entrepreneur, so I've walked a lot of different paths, and just the vibe that Trump gave me was, and I do actually think this is the case. I think he's a little naive. I think he believes a lot of the things that a lot of people tell him. I think he wants to be liked too much. He can't do he can't make a lot of the hard decisions. That's where he's really starting to fail really, really hard. He's failing bigly on that. But I think he does care about other people that that I would say are more like my people. People who I spent time in the Navy with as a machinist mate.
Why would you think that he cares about military people? What makes you think he cares about the folks that served in the military?
I don't know, man. This is the problem, right? It's that's like not investigable unless I sat on the couch for a while with a professional,
Well, look, what does he do? Let's say, what has he done for the military people?
It doesn't really matter because it's such a huge apparatus. He's made them feel better. He's made them feel like
about what?
Like they matter, like they're being heard. I think that is a big thing. He's in the cult, Jade 789. I mean, yeah, okay, so like he literally does. He doesn't. We don't know other people's hearts. That's the tendency that I got, and that's, I think, accurate. And you can say he ghost read his book, but the story of him,
He did.
Here's a story. I mean, there's a reality behind the story. Unless you know differently, because you're a smart guy, you dive into details. So I'll trust your take, actually, and consider it. But did you hear about what he did with the New York ice skating rink?
I don't remember. I don't know if I remember that story.
Okay. So, I mean, yeah, on one hand, a lot of people could say cynically, like he jumped in and, for a couple of years, he was trying to get the city to let him do
Oh, you're talking the Central Park one? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Central, but it's in like a bunch of movies, right? It's
Yeah.
the classic Manhattan ice skate. Yeah, so he jumped in and said, I'm going to fix it. And for a couple of years, New York City tried to fix it, and they did fail at it really bad. It was a terrible project, and everybody loves that thing, right? And he talked about in his book about how he didn't even like to use it. He just liked to look down from his tower at the people all ice skating around in this thing. I think he's kind of sappy. I think he's kind of a sappy guy. I honestly think this was like he was looking into the snow globe that he could shake, and all the little people are dancing around. So, maybe there's a little bit of a megalomania sort of thing combined with this, but I do think he drives in that direction. And the main thing is, I think he makes those people feel like they matter, right? A certain segment of the country that has been bashed. Like,
Yeah,
I
but
have
this is why people say
college
it's.
friends who
But this
bash
is
fly
why.
the country
But
all
this
the
is.
time. They talk terrible things about these people.
But this
and
is why.
it's not okay.
But this is why people say that it's a cult. This is why people say that it's fascism, because he might make people. He's making people feel better while he's actively destroying the country.
And that's something I haven't investigated well, and a lot of the things
Why?
that you're talking about
Why?
are interesting. Because I don't have the time.
What do you mean you don't have time? You run. You said you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah, so I just don't have time, right? This is your full-time job. This is why I find your stream interesting. You got some.
I don't understand what
interesting points
like.
you bring up.
Just look at the country. What's the state of the country?
I can't. What do you mean? Just look at the country through what?
Yeah,
A telescope?
economically. What's the state of the country economically?
Like I said, through what? A telescope? Like economically, the country's in a giant shift. There's a big problem. We're approaching like a debt squeeze, basically. You talked about the Fed interest rate. The only way they can actually affect that is by setting a target rate and then relying on open market operations. And the problem is when there aren't enough people borrowing. So
Well, I didn't bring up the Fed. I didn't bring up the interest rate. Somebody else did. They said that the reason the reason that we have these job losses is because of the Fed didn't drop the interest rate in time. I was responding to that comment. I'm just saying, like, I actually agree with what you're saying. I agree it's vibes. What's alarming to me is that you recognize it and you're doing nothing about it. You're not changing your mind. You're not open. Like you're not advocating. You're just explaining.
Well, you don't know that.
Well, just in this conversation, I'm just judging from this conversation. You said you don't have time, right?
Most people don't have time. That's why it's a terrible.
Okay,
idea
so
to
I think
have
so I think
everybody
maybe
have
I'm
this
right.
Burden of having like everybody has to have this burden of like some kind of like intellectual discovery process.
Right.
Like,
so
what's the quota
so
of
that's
books
what
that everybody has to read to have a qualifiable opinion?
Well, that's what I'm saying is that Trump is relying on vibes this whole time, and it's just alarming that you recognize that, and that you like the history of relying on vibes is not good. So you recognize that Trump is a fraud. You recognize that he's relying on vibes, and yet it's not like alarming to you that this many people in this country are this uninformed, and we're just going to follow this route. Like if Trump continue, like if we continue, well, if we continue down this road, do you think democracy survives?
Most people, even if they're right about the
Would you mind answering that question, please? Would you mind?
I'm sorry.
Thank you,
Yeah. Well, no. I think democracy is most likely coming to an end. I think the Great Reset type of thing is probably the best operational, like the best mechanism of action that would be laid out, where people decide to opt for not having to vote and not having to be, mass democracy was required to have mass armies. We don't need mass armies anymore, so why have mass democracy? And also we have all this debt.
Why have a say in what your government does?
People always had a say. You don't need democracy to have a say.
You certainly do.
That's an ahistoric opinion. That doesn't make any sense.
If we don't have a say in who the leaders are, like if we don't get to democratically elect our leaders, what effect do we have then?
So you think being able to democratically elect, like throwing your chip in, is,
No, I'm
is
asking
the
you.
only
You
way that
said,
you can have a say?
yeah. I'm asking, what other way would we have a say? Violent overthrow?
Well, I mean, if it comes to that, and it's coming to that many times throughout this country,
That's
it's
why I
showing
want to.
that
That's why I
the
want to protect democracy, to avoid
or
violent
wants a
overthrows
feudal system again.
and massive
What I
regime
want
change.
doesn't matter. What I want doesn't matter.
Please don't read
It's
the
so
chat. Hey,
funny.
while you're here,
Yeah.
don't read the chat.
Yeah.
Just talk to me.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. But no, so I think here's a difference in worldview too, and like mindset. Like I mean, I don't consider myself to have some like important opinion or like some kind of a need to have a say or whatever through that kind of a process. Now, it's a duty.
Well, what other
I
process are you
have
going to have a say then? If that's what I'm asking you. If you don't have a say through a democratic process, if that's removed, how are you going to have a say? Is your only other option
still,
violent overthrow?
You can. Well, that, I mean, it's terrible if it ever comes to that. So you can still appeal to the people who are in power.
What if they don't care?
You know, if they don't care, then they're doing a bad job, and then they're going to tend
Trump
towards
is doing
the
a
direction
bad.
of a violent
Trump's
overthrow.
doing a bad job. He doesn't care. American farmers are losing their farms. American workers are losing their jobs. People can't afford houses. By 2030, 60% of homes will be owned by corporations, which takes away people's their only access to a line of credit, to the equity, to generational wealth. I just think I'm sorry to be upset, but your apathy is fucking embarrassing. I'm too busy to to stand up for a future for this country. I'm too busy for that.
No, I'm too busy to do your job. So I listen to you and I take what you have to say, and I'm thinking, wow, this guy's smart. He's got a good attitude.
You're not that busy. You were just on Parker's stream. I've been told you just went from another stream saying the same thing.
No, that's nonsense. I wasn't.
Were you not on Parker's stream just recently?
No, that's a lie.
Okay, cool. I believe you.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of thing, right? So I'll find folks like yourself, and I'll listen and consider, and and then if I need to dive a little bit deeper into something, if I something strikes my interest like that,
Well, what are you considering today that you've heard?
Well, I think the primary thing is the effects on the government and the systems that it's operating. I mean, there are a lot of important functions that care for a lot of people. I'm a veteran. I mean, the VA does a great job. I think we should have a lot more health care for a lot more people. We don't take care of our people. We don't do a good job of that. Bernie's really good at that.
So then why are you, how did you become a Trump supporter then? How are you a Trump person?
No, I already told. Well, I didn't tell you the full story of why I think he's and this whole MAGA thing is the sort of local maximum. We sort of have to the concept of local max versus global maximum, right? Where we have to stand on a certain hill so we can see a taller one and then walk through a valley to get there.
Dude. This all sounds like sounds like corporate TikTok bro bullshit. That doesn't make any fucking sense what you just said.
Sure,
it honestly doesn't make any sense. I just want to know. I want to know why you're siding with Trump.
Because I'm just gonna restate it because I think it's the best thing that we have going. There's also
you just said that nothing's. You just said that things aren't going well. What do you mean it's the best thing going? You just said it's not going well.
Well, things aren't going well because of a lot of things that have come before, and there are a lot of changes that have to happen.
Okay, what changes are you looking forward to?
Well, I think politically, we need a reorganization of the center. We need to reconsolidate a center and what that looks like.
Why?
And why?
Yeah.
Because mass division is really terrible for a polity.
Our country was founded on mass division.
Well, and the Whigs went away. I mean, yeah, there was mass division.
It wasn't just the Whigs
and republicanism.
No, it wasn't just the Whigs. I'm talking about there was a complete a broad ideological spectrum of people who came to America and settled this country, and that's why you have states' rights, and that's why you have federal rights, and that's why the federal rights don't trample on states' rights. And Donald Trump is saying, "Fuck states' rights, let's federalize everything."
See, now that's interesting. I would think that he's federalizing certain things. His actions going into the cities. I don't know. It'd be nice to see cities be their own states at some point, but that's another topic.
Now that sounds like the technocrats.
Well, I mean, kind of like, I mean, it'll probably move in that direction, right? Should you be able to own a gun in a city? Probably not. You know, should they have like big walls to prevent people from coming in with random stuff? Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know, man.
I
This
don't
just
run a
sounds like
city,
this sounds like authoritarian cheerleading. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I have a hard
Could
time.
be.
I have a hard time believing that you're being authentic right now. If we're being honest, I think that
That's
you.
okay.
I think that
That's
you know.
okay.
I think that you know too much to like be this on the fence.
I
Like when-
don't think I know enough to get off of certain fences.
I mean, I
guess.
just talked to you about technocracy. Almost nobody knows about technocracy, and you cited specific things about like the police state in technocracy. I can't help but think that you are at least aware of Curtis Yarvin's dream of the reds, the blues, and the gray, because you're talking about things
Curtis
that
Yarvin.
like you're talking
No, I'm-
about things that are pretty deep.
I mean, I made fun of the like, what's that like little globalist demon boy? Shoot, I forget his
No,
name.
no,
Noah
please,
Yuval
no,
Harari.
please stay
Yuval Harari. You know, Noah Yuval Harari did this whole thing during COVID where he's talking about like, oh, we're gonna have to have a future where we don't trust nations anymore, and instead we have to give your data to global corporations to solve the problem of like new viruses
That's
coming
what
in.
Trump
and
is
it's like,
doing. That's what
and
Trump
it's
is
like,
doing.
I know, right? And it's kind of ironic that Alex Jones like supports technocracy and he's been like railing against it for a long
It's
time. I don't
ironic that
understand
you're
what's up with
doing
that.
it. It's ironic that you're doing it. This is
Well-
one of the most bizarre conversations I've ever had. Like this is
Maybe
it's
maybe
weird
you
because
mistake
we
me then. I'm not
maybe
supporting these things. I'm more like trying to think about like what is and what's going to happen down the road.
there is no what is going to happen down the road. Like we have to affect the things that are happening down the road. I think
That's
that maybe that's
interesting,
like this idea that like the world is just like I grew up Mormon. I grew up in a cult, so there was this idea that like everybody knew how the world was going to end, and so Mormons are very apathetic because like when wars happen, they're like, oh, this is prophecy. When there's hard economic
Yeah.
times, they're like, oh, this is prophecy. I think that's a
Yeah.
lazy way that people think, and they're like, well, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Well, what happens is a result of decisions that we make today and things that we agree upon today. If we don't want to go down that road, if we don't want to lose our rights, if we don't want to have cities where you live in a police state, then you have to oppose the people who are advocating for that, who is Donald Trump. I don't understand how people on the right look at the left and they're like, oh, I can't, oh, they'll take away my rights. The fuck? Like, we have military in the streets right now. We have the government being shut down, and they're going to unilaterally cut programs that they don't like. Trump has openly said that he's open to the idea of stripping away gun rights of people without due process. They'll figure it out later. I'm baffled by the right because this is the most authoritarian our country has ever been. And for the people that are deadlocked on the right, they're like, no, it's not. And the people in the middle are just like, well, what are you going to do about it? And I just think that that's like the very definition of privilege. It's not
Have
really
you heard
going
of
to
the
affect
Patriot
you.
Act?
I have heard of the Patriot Act.
Yeah, I'm talking about the people you're talking about who are like, oh, it's not authoritarian. It's like
I'm talking about you, though. I'm talking about you.
Well,
it seems like you're just
okay, so-
apathetic because I don't know if you're a white dude. I am. This stuff's not really going to hurt me. This is going to hurt a lot of people. So it's easy to live your life when you're not a targeted group and be like, nah, I'll still survive. It'll be okay.
That's uncharitable. I mean, here's the thing. Like, have you heard of the frame of reference that a lot of people have, where like if somebody states opinions about like maybe the way things are or the way things will be, that they therefore like want it to be that way. Like, you know, those two things aren't necessarily aligned, right?
Wait, the people saying that that this is how they think things are going to be versus that's what they want?
Yeah, there's a lot of people who like legitimately think if you say, I think it's going to go in this direction, that you want it to go in that direction. Like somehow you can't predict things that you don't want to have happen.
Yeah, no. Well, look, no, I said you were apathetic. I think I was pretty clear on that. I didn't
What
make
does
it.
that? What does it mean? I want to know what do you mean by apathetic?
You're just
'Cause that
sitting.
seems
You're
a little
just sitting there
personal. That seems
watching
a
it.
little crappy.
You're sitting there watching it happen, and you're just like you've literally said like, oh well, that's the way that it's gonna go.
I think that things are going to go a certain way. Like I think a great reset is going to happen, and ironically, it possibly is going to be ushered in by Trump. I don't know how much he can accomplish in a few years, but
is that not
it'd be
apathetic?
kind of ironic.
Is that not apathetic to say I don't have time to learn about this stuff? I'm not going to fight against it. I just think that's the way that it's going to go. Is that not?
What does fighting against it look like to you? Sell me on this.
Sell you
me
on
fighting against it. Yeah, because like legit, like I don't understand what you even mean because like I'm trying to think about how to operationalize that in my life and like what is this like what am I signing up for? Like 15 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day? Because like I hear this a lot from people and it's like from people who are very politically active, right? I was in the Libertarian Party at one point. I was a party operator. I actually did stuff, right? And it ran the course and like it didn't I basically learned that the people who were in that party cared more about smoking dope and being popular than they did about actual like philosophy and underlying like truth claims about what would actually make libertarianism correct versus the other things. They actually didn't care about that. What they cared about was like what I said, right? Just like having fun.
Yeah, well, I think that ideologues, I think ideology in general, and to a lot of like to a greater extent, political theory, I think it's kind of a waste of time. I think that a lot of people like to get in bed with political theory because it creates this hypothetical world that they think that they could that their actions could accomplish. I'm talking about just like everyday stuff. Every single person has one voice, and that voice reaches as far as that voice can reach, right? Depending on how many people you can influence, whatever your sphere of influence is. But if everybody was talking about the fact that that Donald Trump obviously is a fascist and that they're obviously trying to end democracy, that does exactly what you're talking about. That shifts the Overton window.
I actually do want democracy to
Why?
end. I think it's because I think that for the vast majority of people, frankly, myself included, we don't have the time to make a good decision for the whole. We don't have the time to consider it, and we don't have the wherewithal, nor do we have skin in the game, truly. And therefore, I would like the ruling class to do their job. Mass democracy is a liability shield for the ruling class to say, you all voted for it, so now you get what you deserve. I think that's nonsense.
Wait, hold on. I've got a question for. Wait, hold on. Democracy is a shield for the ruling class, so we should get rid of the shield and just let the ruling class be in charge.
Yeah, you should read a lot of the like 18th century Catholic Church opinions on the rising republics and what they thought
they're
about
fucking
that.
wrong. Yeah, they're fucking all quitters, just the same way. Like there's this thought in the world that like no matter, and it sounds like it's very defeatist. It's like, oh well, this is the way that it is. No, you could end the oligarchy. You could end all the very simply.
Can't end
yes,
the
you
oligarchy.
can.
That's
yes, you
nonsense.
can.
You can.
Yes,
No, you
let me
can
explain why.
transform
Let
it
me
into a
explain
good
how.
aristocracy
Let me
is
explain how.
actually the
Let
best
me
place to go.
explain how. Number one, you introduce ranked choice votings and you ranked choice voting and you eliminate parties. And number two, you end Citizens United. And and then you go after the power structures in our economy. So you would go after monopolies. You'd break them up. You would allow collective bargaining. You would force collective bargaining, and you would allow people to own their own labor. And I know a lot of people say that's socialism.
I like that.
That's
No, I
true.
like that.
Yeah. So that's how you end it.
And so I like that. And if we're going to stay with Republic, and even mass voting, whatever, I got one for you, actually. I think this is better because what you're talking about is has a problem of, like the people have wanted things like this, but even more so, the people have wanted since the 70s a repeal of Hart-Celler Immigration Act and a return to more rational immigration, let's say. And they haven't gotten it, right? There's a intractable problem when everybody in the ruling class is colluding over certain policies like what you mentioned. Now, maybe
immigration is a smokescreen. Nobody actually gives a fuck about immigration, and immigration doesn't hurt us.
Sure.
There's issues with immigration, but it is far from the top issue that we should care about. It's just a way for people to pretend that they're not racist when they really are, or maybe not even racist. They just don't like foreigners. They don't want things to change. But like immigration is not the problem. The problem is that and all of these problems have accelerated since the introduction of trickle-down economics. We fixed this problem after the Gilded Age. When you had massive wealth disparity, and America learned, and we fixed that, and we went for decades. And the American middle class was massive. The people had more of a voice, and then here comes Ronald Reagan and is like, guys, don't you need to keep more of your money? And they're like, yeah. And then he's like, by the way, now that you can keep more money, you can bribe us with that money, you massive corporations, and we're going to do whatever the fuck you want.
By the way, we're going to spend a lot more too.
That's fine.
Yeah, so
I'd rather spend more.
A lot of stuff, but on the right things. But what about proportional representation? I think you might get a lot more of what you want if we had proportional representation more akin to, I forget when they changed it. It was in like the early 1800s or something.
Are you talking about
when they
like
said,
abolishing the Senate or something and just having an electoral college?
no. Well, I mean, you could go that direction too, because the two-tier system it has its functions perhaps, but like maybe it's antiquated. I don't know about that. I haven't thought about that. But the Congress used to be proportioned to where you actually had a tie to your congressperson. You could actually get their attention. I forget.
So you're
what
saying that the proportion is too much? They represent too many people.
Way too many. They're at the original proportions. We'd have like 4,000 members of Congress.
Yeah, but I think
they'd all be accountable. They wouldn't have to fundraise because right now all they do all year is fundraise.
No, you end.
And then their staff tells them what to do.
You end Citizens United, and you have state-funded primaries, and you have state-funded elections, and you take all corporate money out. You don't have to fundraise. The only reason we fundraise is because of Citizens United.
You still don't have people getting the ear of their quote.
Because they don't have the money. So it's the billionaires who pay them. It's the people with all the money who pay them and get. It's because maybe, but you have local representation as well. Like you have small local representation who can go through your state legislature and they can get word. No, you're not going to have a one-on-one meeting with your congressman or your senator. But right now, the only people that do get those one-on-one meetings are people that are writing big checks. There's a solution to all of this. I do think that MAGA's in this place right now, and I think that the reason that you have a lot of people openly calling for anarchy is because I think that MAGA has realized that they made a big fucking mistake, and that Donald Trump is everything that we said he is. However, they don't want to admit that to themselves, and so what I think we're seeing a lot is a lot of cope, and people rather than admitting that they were wrong are like, you know what, just fuck it, because I do like Donald Trump, and they've been so worked up into hating the other side that they can't fathom a world where the other side has any power at all.
Is a tragedy.
And so they just say, let's do fascism. That's where we're at with MAGA right now, is a bunch of people who were dead fucking wrong. We were right about Donald Trump. We nailed it with Donald Trump. We nailed it with Project 2025. They all pretended it didn't exist, and now it's happening right in front of their eyes, and they will not admit that they were wrong. And that's where we have a problem, is that there's too many people who have sold their whole life to Donald Trump to the point now that they're willing to fuck over the whole country rather than admit they were wrong.
Or maybe they don't know the things that you know. I haven't seen somebody put together a good case for how there's this national fascism happening on the right, how they're taking away states' rights. Like
What are you watching?
I'm telling you the gap.
What are you watching?
I'm telling you the gap.
I know what are you watching?
Not much, and not much that has to do with these kinds of topics in this kind of detail.
Like taking federal troops federal troops and putting them into cities against the wishes of the governor who controls the National Guard. That doesn't look like fascism to you?
Oh, no.
No, okay.
You say no, because that's not. I mean, that's like fascism vibes. If you're watching like, I don't know, like, I don't know.
How about the demonization?
Vibes.
How about the demonization of the LGBTQ community and specifically immigrants?
I mean, demonization of LGBT like that's a complex topic. I think the rhetoric could be.
It's not that complex. Right? Who was the first? Who got blamed? Who were the first people that got blamed when Charlie Kirk was shot?
There were a ton of people that were like, I bet there were a ton of people who were immediately like, I bet the shooter was trans.
Why do you think that happened? Yeah. Why do you think so many people immediately thought of trans people?
Because they've seen a bunch of trans people doing shoot-ups, and they haven't seen.
Except for they haven't seen that. Except for they haven't seen that.
They haven't seen like the full. They haven't seen like the full stats reel, right?
No, they haven't seen a ton of trans shooters. They're just being told. They're just being told.
Okay, that they've seen what they've been told.
Okay.
Again, go back to Aristotle and the Charmer, right? This is the
problem. Is that not what
you want these people to vote? Like,
is that not what Mussolini and Hitler did with immigrants? Did they not do that exact same thing?
So again, these are what I see these as.
I just want you to engage in the questions I'm asking, please. Because I think the reason I think you're doing the no, I'm going to give lots of examples, but I think you're doing the thing that I'm talking about. Like, you don't want to address reality. We have concentration camps in this country.
We did in World War II as well.
Yeah, and
What do you mean by
it was wrong
concentration
then
camp?
too.
Prisons concentrate people. That's what they do. Why the rhetoric?
Are they not concentration camps?
You're calling them that because you've predetermined that you
I'm
have
calling
to
them
paint
that.
fascist outcomes.
I'm calling them that because historically concentration camps have been made for a specific group of people. Like that's why I'm not calling them prisons, because prisons are for everybody, right? Doesn't matter.
are for
Doesn't
criminals,
matter
right?
what crime you committed. Doesn't matter what gender or race you are. Like you go to prison. These concentration camps specifically seem to be targeting brown immigrants who have been blamed for all of our problems, who are being
they
blamed
people who
for
have
the
committed a
government
crime?
shutdown right now.
Are they for people who have committed a crime?
No, misdemeanors. You don't go to prison for misdemeanors.
Okay. That's fair. Yeah, you can go to jail for like a really bad one, I guess, or contempt of court or something.
Yeah,
But,
so these are
are they like processing centers? How are they treating people in these places?
poorly.
They should be treating them well.
Extremely poorly from every report
Well,
from
that
anybody
sucks.
who's
That's
been
wrong.
released from them.
Well, that's wrong.
There was
Yeah, they
1,200
shouldn't be doing
people
that.
that we didn't even know where they were for like 2 weeks. They got moved to Montana and nobody told us where they were. Families didn't even know where their other family members were. They're being moved around without any notification to the family. That's what concentration camps are. Every time there is a camp that's dedicated to a group of people, that is a concentration camp. Just like it was in World War II with the Japanese folks here, just like it was in Italy, just like it was in Germany.
So your contention, if I understand you correctly, is that these camps are basically like illegitimately these camps are being filled by people who are being illegitimately targeted.
100%. And we don't have
based on
oversight. And we don't know
based
what's
on some
going on.
kind of like, okay, and there's not an oversight process for it.
Congress has oversight, and they keep going to do inspections, and they're being told no.
Okay.
So is that not
Okay.
fascist? The federal government's telling Congress that the constitutionally protected right they have to conduct oversight can't be done just cause?
Maybe it's autistic, but like the fascism rhetoric is just sort of off base. It just doesn't make
No,
sense.
it's apathy.
because,
It's apathy. You don't want to admit
it's
that it could
vibes.
happen here. You guys don't want. This
What
is
do you mean terrible things could happen?
This is
here? They
what
happened here in
happens.
World War II.
What do you think? What do you think?
What do you think?
What do you think the German people were saying? The German people who weren't like out openly celebrating concentration camps. What do you think they were saying? They were saying,
The
look,
American government justified
hold on,
nuking
hold on,
Japan.
hold on.
What do you
They
mean
were
terrible
saying,
things?
I agree with that.
Yeah.
But we're talking about right now. We're talking about fascism.
Yeah.
You can go read the records of the Germans during that time. They just pretended it wasn't happening, and when they were confronted with it happening, they were like, look. Unfortunately, this just has to be done, but we don't condone the violence. We don't condone the mistreatment. If that's happening, it shouldn't happen. And then they do nothing, and then it happens. And that's where we're at. There's a bunch of people like you who are doing nothing. I just don't know how people can sit and watch by and not want to talk about this. Oh, how is this not something that you're focused on talking about?
So again, that kind of statement, like you're a smart guy. You do a lot of research into these topics, and I appreciate it. And I've listened to it. You haven't done any research on me, and then you're making that assertion.
No,
maybe I've
said that.
Maybe I've misspoken and misrepresented myself.
You haven't listen. You haven't
I
brought
have
up this.
conversations with
Hold on,
people at my
wait.
church.
Hold on. You haven't
and
brought
some
up.
of them have
Hold on.
represented some of the stuff you've said.
Hold on. You
And
haven't.
it- and
Hold
I-
on.
and it
Hold on.
breaks my
Hold
heart,
on.
but-
Hold on.
Yeah.
My only reference for you is this conversation. And
I understand
when we've talked about concentration camps at this point, your first objection was that's outrageous. They're not they're concentration camps. Then I explain it, and you're like, okay, that's right. And then I say, why don't you want to talk about this? And you're like, oh, that's unfair. You just did the thing that I accused you of.
No, I don't understand what you mean, right? So you're saying basically, I think what you're really saying is, why don't you adopt my opinion and then go share it and care about it?
No, we just
right?
said we had the same opinion. What do you think of the people in Germany who sat idly by while a genocide happened? What do you think of those people?
Look, I don't know.
No,
okay?
I'm just
not gonna
wondering your
claim to
opinion.
know
What
about
do you
stuff
think
that I
about
don't
those
know.
people? Do you think they should have
I've never
spoken
met
up?
any of them.
No, just in general. Do you think they should have spoken up?
Plenty of them did. And
I
there
know,
were a
but
lot
I'm
of
asking about the
abolitionists
ones
in
that
the South
didn't.
in the United States.
I'm
too.
asking about
There
the
were a
ones
lot of
that didn't.
abolitionists.
Yeah,
Hey,
I
there
would have
were-
been. I would have been one of those people speaking up. You wouldn't have been. That's the
Until
point.
close to the end.
That's the point I'm
Until-
making here. The point
until
I'm making
close to the
here
end.
The point I'm making here is there's a lot of people like you in all of these terrible situations who it wasn't affecting, and you were able to live your life unaffected, and you didn't bring it up. I just think that is, I think that it's selfish, and I also think it's cowardice.
I think that you don't know things that I know, and therefore you're a bad person. Like this is
You
like
just agreed with me. That's not what I said. Now you're just being now you're being a little bit whiny.
I agreed that the story that you're painting. I agree that the story that you're painting is one that's bad. If there's no federal oversight, people are being mistreated. Like, yeah, that's an alarming situation. That's not good. Now, have I actually gone and investigated that for myself and come to that opinion independently of you and me having a mildly heated conversation? Like, no, I haven't done that, obviously. Otherwise, I would have come on here and had more of my facts straight about this particular, right? And you've noted a couple particulars. And, just because I don't have some kind of like a deep understanding of it, right? Unlike you, I mean, I had a deep understanding that, at the founding of the country, there were, like more than 20 times less people per representative. I think that would do some change. That's a different type of thing. You discounted it. You were like, whatever, that doesn't matter.
I think this
So
conversation.
you're apathetic about changing the proportion of representation so we can actually get a real democracy in this country.
It's not.
You don't care about democracy. I mean, like, come on. Like, I could play your game too, but it'd be kind of stupid.
I think this is illustrative of. Yeah, I think this is illustrative of exactly the claim that I made. Right? Like, we're talking about people being locked up in concentration camps, being mistreated by the government, and you took the opportunity.
That's true. It's horrible.
Great, and you took the opportunity to be a victim about how it was unfair, how I was painting you.
Oh, come on, man.
That's what you just did. You just sat there and complained about how unfair it was, how I was treating you.
No, it's not about unfairness of treatment. What it's about is you're saying that based on a 2-minute, whatever conversation about this topic, that therefore I should like go take action. It's more like kind of sloppy sales or something. I don't know what it is.
Well,
but
no, I'm saying
it makes me think that maybe you're not actually fully like knowledgeable about what you're talking about, because you're just being like, now go do the thing.
I didn't say go do the thing.
What? Okay.
I didn't ask you to do anything.
What's the problem?
I asked
what's the problem?
The problem is that it seems like you're upset by a question that I asked, and I said, if you're agreeing with me that this is true, why aren't you doing something about it? If you don't agree with me that it's true, that's fine. But then you went on this rant forever about how it was unfair, how I was categorizing you.
What do you mean? What do you mean? If I agree that it's true, then why am I not doing anything about it?
If you agree that there are concentration camps, which at the beginning of this conversation you didn't agree that there were concentration camps, it seems to me that in this conversation in the last 5 minutes you've changed your mind that there are concentration camps now. So I'm just asking, like, what's your plan? What's going forward?
If what you're saying is true, then it deserves investigation. And you're not the only one to bring this up. There's people in my church who are concerned about what's going on because they're married to people who are also very close to this situation to a degree that is worth like being very careful about. But in that kind of circumstance, it's like don't get caught, right? That's a game that is dreadful that it's out there probably being played right now.
But do you recognize the
stuff that's awful?
Do you recognize the privilege in that and why I say that might be apathetic? Because for you, like, you guys are having these discussions, but like it's
so what? Like, I don't have other concerns in my life, man. Like, get off it.
Yeah,
Man.
exactly. That's what. That's what I'm saying. We're saying the
same. Is it about the ideas, or is it about being like personally insulting to people?
I'm not insulting. Listen, I'm not insulting you. I don't.
It is. You're accusing me of like a moral crime. You're saying I ought to be doing things that I'm not doing.
No.
I take these things seriously. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're just
all right. Listen, dude. You got to calm down for a second. Let me get these sentences out. What I'm saying is that you have privilege. I have the exact same privilege you do. It's not an insult. It's reality. Okay. Some people in this country have privilege that other people don't have. I'm just pointing out.
You don't even know that.
I'm just pointing. Okay. I'm just pointing out that what you're saying is that a lot of you are having conversations that are concerning, but we're not doing anything to fix it. And 10 minutes ago, you told me that the solution to all of this was to end democracy and just let the oligarchs take over.
I wouldn't solve everything. I think it would resolve to a better state.
Is that not what they did in Germany?
No, Hitler wasn't he voted in?
He was he was voted in by his party, but then he was named chancellor, and then he just took executive powers and became a king.
How terrible was
Is that could you just answer that question? Like,
how terrible was the United States before?
Can you just
the mass
answer?
population would vote?
Listen. Now it's feeling disingenuous because you're not answering my questions. Is that not what happened? Like the very thing that you're advocating for is the very excuse me. The very thing that you're
That's not what I advocated
excuse me.
for. That's not what I advocated for.
Excuse me.
You got your facts wrong.
Well, let me get this.
You're not gonna.
Let me get the You haven't let me get the fucking sentence out. Okay, shut the fuck up and let me get the sentence out before you decide to disagree with it. Okay, thank you. You're advocating for the end of democracy and letting the people in power take over. Is that not what happened in Germany? The people in power didn't take over? Was it not Hitler and all the rich people and the churches that took over?
No, sir. I'm advocating for basically a pre 1870 Naturalization Act.
No, you said end democracy and let the people in charge take over.
That's rhetoric. By and large,
that's what you said.
In the United States were the ruling class.
Okay, who would take over?
The ruling class.
Who's the ruling class? Okay, who's the ruling class?
The people who were voting pre-1870.
No, right now, who's the ruling class? Who is the ruling class right now?
It's everybody. It's democracy. It's total chaos.
No, who's going to take over? When you say we end democracy, let the ruling class take over. Who are those people going to be? We know their names. Say their names.
Right now, the ruling class is like, I don't know, the people who
say the names.
Put stuff on the television and people who run the algorithms.
The billionaires. The answer is the billionaires.
Yeah, sure, billionaires. Yeah, sure. If you want to get a class, but
who was the ruling class? And who was the ruling class in Germany that took over? Excuse me. Who was the ruling class in Germany that took over?
Oh my goodness.
Who was it?
Again,
who was
American.
I know, and you don't want to engage in this discussion. Who was the ruling class in Germany? You're upset that you're upset.
You're a sophist.
You're upset that I'm making. Wait, excuse me. You're upset that I'm making this comparison. So I'm trying to make the comparison in a way that you understand why I'm doing it. I'm explaining to you why I'm making this comparison, and you don't want to engage. So who in Germany were the people that took over power? Who was it?
The NSDAP.
No, not the NSDAP. Try again.
So what I would advocate is a return.
Try again, please. Don't change the subject. Try again. The answer is you either tell me who it was or you say I don't know.
The subject. It's clarifying actually.
No, I'm asking a question, and you have two options to answer this question. You can say I don't know, or you can tell me who the people are. But you're not going to change the subject. Do you know who was who? Okay, so who was in power? So who was in power?
And I'm the authority on what I said.
So who was in power?
You tell me.
Okay, great. It was the oligarchs. It was the rich. Hitler, the way that he consolidated his power after being named chancellor is he went and he got all of the richest people and said, I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine. And then he went and he got the church and he said, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. The church made it his birthday a national holiday. All of the richest people went along with what he was doing. It's exactly what's happening right now. Donald Trump is taking billions of dollars. He's created a sovereign wealth fund where he will direct the money where to go. So he's telling all these oligarchs, hey, you know all these shitty loans that you wrote, these collateralized loan obligations that you have that are outstanding that are going to crash your businesses? Great news. I've got a direct infusion coming from all these people bribing me, and I get to decide where that money's going. So if you don't side with me, you're fucked. They're like, cool, we'll side with you. And then he got the churches, and the churches are siding with him. It's the exact fucking same thing. Exactly the same.
There's things that you're trying to map from one to the other, and you're doing a decent job of it. Yes, are there parallels? Of course, history kind of rhymes, but notice also everybody gets to vote, and yet this thing is happening.
Everybody could vote in Germany too.
This whole thing is crashing.
Everybody could vote in Germany too.
And prior to 1870, in America, the end of slavery came about when everybody couldn't. You know.
That's why I don't want to go back to that age. That's why I'm advocating for a different path forward.
Like not letting everybody vote so we don't have a bunch of idiots.
Yeah, you're advocating for bending over and getting fucked in the ass and being grateful for it. And I'm advocating that I have a voice.
No,
Yes,
I'm not. I'm saying
you literally
saying people
you
have a voice
advocated
and
that
you
we
don't actually
end
have to,
democracy.
you don't
That's
actually
literally
have to
what you
vote to have a
advocated
voice.
for.
How did things work before 1870 in America?
I mean,
How many people
how
got to
did
vote?
things work?
Yeah. How many people got to vote?
Everybody who was given the
What
right
were the
to vote in
qualifications for the vote?
America.
Yeah, but it wasn't all men.
I know.
It wasn't any women.
I
All
know.
men.
I'm against that.
Yeah. Okay.
You seem to
I think
not
that's
be. You
it's
just want everybody
irrational.
to not vote.
I think that's not everybody. Not everybody.
If you end democracy, nobody can vote.
Okay, no, that's obviously okay. So forgive me, please. That was rhetoric. That was, you were
Your
rah,
whole
rah, rah,
thing is
democracy
rhetoric, man.
and it whatever. Okay, so I mean, you just basically like tried to parallel me with fascism. Okay, so
No, I
like,
tried to parallel you with the pussies who sat by and sat back and watched it happen in Germany. Apathetic, privileged little
the
pussies. So I want to make sure. I don't think you're the people that were. Yes, those people who looked at their families and they said, I'm going to take care of my family. I don't care that the brown shirts invaded my neighbor and took them all and put them on a train and put them in a concentration camp because I'm very busy and I have things to do. And those people are cowards and pussies. And you're defending those. You're defending those people. You just defended those people. The very people that I'm accusing you of being is who you are defending right now.
You're ideologically captured and you're
by what? What's my ideology? What's my ideology?
You're losing your mind.
What's my ideology?
Democracy.
Democracy is not an ideology.
Liberalism, more broadly speaking.
What are my views? Is liberalism an ideology?
Very deeply, but you.
Is liberalism an ideology?
Quite so, yes.
And I was captured. My ideology. I was captured by liberals. How did that happen? You want to know who hates me the most? Fucking liberals. Liberals fucking
probably
hate
actually
me.
that actually makes sense. They probably call you a traitor or something.
No, they think I'm too far. They think I'm too far left.
Too far, like how? Like because you embrace certain like distributionist policies or something?
Because I advocate that yeah, exactly, that people own their own labor.
I mean, that's Christian. Like that's basically like,
and yet who else hates me? Christians.
The serfs owned more of their labor than we do.
So just to be clear, born and raised in a cult. So just to be clear, born and raised in a Christian conservative cult for 30 years. Worked for the Republican Party, then became a libertarian. I'm still registered as a Republican. I do not side with the Democrats. I do not like the Democrats. The liberals, the moderate liberals don't like me. The people on the far left, the communists and the socialists, they don't like me. I'm the furthest thing from ideologically captured. You just wanted to say that. I think the difference between the difference. Excuse me. I wasn't done yet. I wasn't done yet. The difference between you and I is effort. That's the difference.
Yeah, this is your job, man. That's why I'm listening.
It wasn't always my job. And I still put in and I still put in effort. That's the difference. And when I say that you're apathetic, you can take that as an insult or not, but you are apathetic. You are willing to sit by and watch atrocities happen while you go, I'm busy.
It's wrong. It's wrong that you say that you accuse your fellow man of such a thing.
It's not wrong. I'm dead fucking right. You are apathetic.
And then it's also, I mean, you can, I can't.
Do you know what apathetic means?
I can't do brain surgery on you. I asked you for a definition earlier. You didn't.
Well, no, that's what I'm asking. Are we just confused?
I want to know what it means. I want to know what you mean when you say it, sir. That's what I care about.
I mean
that
you show.
What Webster says.
I mean that. I'll explain it. I mean that you show no concern for anything outside of your own life.
If a mother weeps about tragedies that beset her child and screams to the hilltops and does all those things, but does not feed her child, does she care about her child?
What? Say that again.
If a mother weeps about the tragedies of her child and all children and whatever, but she does nothing, she does not feed her child, does she care about her child?
No.
I'm trying to get it. Okay, I agree. Yeah. So expressing emotion and expressing some kind of like, oh, I this and that and like who.
But you're doing nothing. You're doing nothing.
You're just saying that.
Okay, what are you doing then?
I mean, I have conversations with people.
You just said that talking about it and talking about it wasn't enough.
That's part of what. Well,
you just said the mother. You said the mother didn't care because all she did was talk and she took no action. I'm asking you what action you take, and you're like, I just talk.
Well, it's a
You're the
metaphor.
mother. You're the apathetic mother in this scenario.
It's a metaphor. I mean, in politics, talking is really the whole thing, unless you're going to start being violent, which is, of course, we want to stay away from that.
This is bizarre, man. You are apathetic. I think you took it as an insult, but it is what
called,
you are.
It's called an analogy, man. So
yeah, but in the analogy, you're the mother who didn't feed her daughter. You're the apathetic person.
Because why? What should I?
Because
why?
all
what
you're doing is talking.
What's the feeding? Well, what's the next thing?
Well, let me say this.
Vote for Bernie.
I think your first.
Do that.
I think your first.
Sorry, I couldn't vote for Bernie.
I think your first step is to.
Hillary Clinton would have gotten us into a war with Russia.
You asked me a question. You asked me a question, and I'm going to answer the question. The first thing you need to do, and please understand that I don't mean this. I curse, and I don't mean it as an attack on you. But the number one thing you need to do is shut the fuck up and learn. Because you have spoken a million times more than me, and you don't know any of the things that we're talking about. And if we were talking about business, I would probably be the one that needed to shut the fuck up and learn. It would be my responsibility. And when I'm in a room with somebody who understands something better than me, I shut the fuck up.
I've been taking notes, and for the parts that I haven't been really receiving your information well, it's because I've been responding as such. I've been
pretty defensive. You've been very defensive.
Well, you can call it that, and that's fine. I probably was. That's I'll accept that.
And so listen, you can be hold on. Listen, you can be offended by what I say, and that's fine. But I'm pretty careful with my words. If you watch me, you know I'm pretty careful.
I'm not really offended so much as it's just like strange.
What part of shut the fuck up and listen do you not understand? That was the middle of my sentence.
What part of giving a shit about what somebody else means do you not understand? You don't care about what
That's exactly what I'm talking about. So you
don't care. You don't want clarification.
I invited you. With all due respect, you are on my show, and I am giving you a fucking platform, and I've given you a platform for 54 fucking minutes. So I do care what other people have to say, but in the middle of my sentence is not the time for you to talk. Okay? Wait till the end of the fucking sentence. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Wait till the end.
What if it's false?
Then wait till the end of the sentence. Because maybe the rest of the sentence would explain it.
Yeah, okay.
Everything we've done today, everything we've talked about today, you haven't known about. And you have interrupted the entire time to fight it. And you keep trying to derail. And you've made most of this conversation about personal attacks on you. If you want to take it as a personal attack or not, fine. But I'm careful with my words. When I said you were apathetic, you are. And everybody is apathetic to some things in this world. We all have to be. It's a reality of life. And what I'm trying to point out is now it is not a reality of life that you have to be apathetic about this. You can engage. There are things that you can do. There is a circle of influence around you where you can engage in these conversations. Now is not the time to be apathetic, because now is a turning point in history. And turning points in history all have these moments, and the longer people stay apathetic, the more disastrous it's been. I think you probably agree with me about what Israel has done in Palestine, and the reason that Israel has been able to do this for so long is apathy by the American people. And the reason now that we see it coming to an end is because the world stopped being apathetic and the world started speaking. And the world universally condemned it. Words have power, and every voice has a certain amount of power. So you can either be part of the movement or you can be apathetic. But don't be offended when somebody says that you not using your voice means that you're apathetic. Just own it. Now I'm done.
I think that's a great message for the audience, for people who hear.
I'm talking only to you. I'm only talking to you right now.
Yeah, well, it's just not the case, so like I said,
what are you doing then?
So what do you mean, what am I doing?
You said if it's not the case that
I don't go door to door. I don't go door to door.
I didn't ask you what you're not doing. I'm asking you what you are doing. If you're not apathetic, then that means you're taking an action, right? You're using your voice.
I told you that.
Okay,
I already told you that.
You're talking to people at church about what?
About these types of things.
What types of things?
Things come up on. I mean, about whatever's going on in the world. A lot of times comes up, you know, and if something like this is interesting, I'd have to learn a little bit more about these things. Right now,
And you
this
do
is
that,
something that I'm doing.
and you're going to need to do that by talking a lot less.
Well, yeah, typically when you're doing research, you're not talking.
Yeah.
You're listening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, the most striking thing that you've brought up is this thing about the camps. Frankly, like federal incursions into cities, like I know about that. Like I don't really care. I think it's whatever. All right. We can have difference of opinion on that. If they need to establish rule of law there,
apathy.
and that's what it takes.
That's
then
apathy.
That's not apathy. That's not apathy.
It is apathy.
That's my opinion about it.
No. You said
you
I
use
don't
this
care.
word. I don't think you know what this word means. Meme. I need to put that out there.
I've explained it to you. Well, then what do you think apathy means?
No, the way that you used it in your last sentence, you were like, we have to be apathetic about a lot of things in the world, and you're basically using it as like everything that you don't do, you're apathetic towards.
No. It's when I say you have to be apathetic about things in this world, I mean that there are things that are out of your control and that like out of your sphere of influence. And so sometimes like you're never going to have an influence on some things that happen in the world. Like for example, if I don't like the way that my neighbor parents their kid, like I can't really concern myself with that because I have no ability to change that. If they're not going to talk to me, like I'm not going to devote my life to trying to get my neighbor to parent their kid in a way that I think is more appropriate. But what you just said is you said it's alarming that there's federal troops that are going in, but I don't really care about that because if it has to bring crime down, then I'm good with it. Just that part tells me that you don't understand what's happening because in Portland, in Chicago, and in Portland, in Chicago, in DC, we are currently at historic low crime rates, 30-year lows. All of these cities have seen massive investment in both time and money that has brought the crime rates down. And this president is telling you that crime there is actually out of control. And because you didn't do your research, you're like, I don't give a fuck that the troops are going there to take the crime. That's apathy.
Specific crime to do with, you know, groups that are causing political violence, doing mass.
There aren't groups in these. There aren't groups in these places that are doing that.
All right, cool.
So that's what I mean.
I believe you. So that's ignorance. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of apathy being like you don't care about something that you ought to care about, and maybe you don't mean that. And it sounds like you don't mean that.
Well, that's not what it means.
So,
it's just showing or feeling no interest or enthusiasm or concern.
Well, yeah. Okay, then you could be like apathetic towards SpaceX or something because you're like, yeah, go to the moon, don't go to the moon, go to Mars. Like I don't care.
And look, I'm not offended by that.
That's fair. Okay. No, and I don't mean that to, yeah, okay. Well then, all right, then I retract a lot of what I was saying. A lot of the way that you're saying stuff, the tone of your voice is it's like you're coming down on somebody like, okay, you really should care about this. I mean, I think you would say that you should care about the federal troops going into these cities because you think it's leading to an outcome that's going to be similar to Nazi Germany or Soviet Russia or something terrible. You're like
no.
You're trying to like shout stop.
No.
Over the bridge or something.
No, first of all, you're wrong. I would oppose it even if I didn't think that was happening because it is unlawful, it is unconstitutional, and it is stripping the rights away of American citizens. That's my number one objection to it. But when I draw the parallel, because it's not the only thing that this administration is doing that makes me think of Nazi Germany or Italy. If Joe Biden would have done this, I would have had the same opposition to it, but I wouldn't be drawing the parallels because there wouldn't also be like mass deportation camps. There wouldn't be an actual like Nazi propagandist on the right-hand side of Joe Biden writing all of his speeches and talking openly about the enemy from within and how the left is nothing, will have nothing. They wouldn't be Joe Biden wouldn't be openly talking about a RICO case that involves everybody who says anything that is opposite of what they believe. So I would still oppose this in every scenario, but not in every scenario would I say this is going to lead to Nazi Germany. It's the totality of what this group is doing in a plan that they wrote down and in an administration full of actual like neo-Nazis. That's why.
You referenced that plan before. I read PNAC. I read these kinds of documents, Cato Institute stuff, or where's that plan. You referenced it before.
Project
before I got on.
2025 is written by the Heritage Foundation. It's on the Heritage Foundation website, and it's about 50% complete now. And most of the people that wrote Project 2025, it's called a mandate for leadership. And Project 2025 is broken up into different auxiliary areas of the executive branch, and they have this idea called unified executive theory,
That's Karl Rove.
it is Karl Rove, but that's where they got that. But then Heritage jumped on this, and each chapter talks about how they would enter the executive branch and how they would break down any parts of the government that they don't like, so that they can progress their agenda. And they want the executive branch to have unilateral authority over a lot of things. Ironically, almost every chapter that was written by somebody who had expertise in that area, and those people all wound up in the Trump administration running the departments of the chapter that they wrote in Project 2025. And that wouldn't be that alarming if they had come out and they'd be like, here's Trump's policy, here's what we're going to do, here's the people that wrote it, and we're going to have them in the administration. But instead, they said, Project 2025, what's that? We've never heard of it. They still tell you that they've never heard of it.
Yeah, I know they do.
And the reason that they had to lie about it is because when you read Project 2025, you go, holy fuck, this is just fascism. This is just modern day rebranded fascism, and they're attempting Christian nationalism. That's why publicly they wouldn't admit it during the campaign. And that's why publicly they still won't admit it, but they're doing it.
I mean, what's wrong with repealing the states' rights violation from the 60s? I forget which Supreme Court case it was that doesn't allow states to have a religious test anymore.
That's the Supreme. That's the Supreme
Nine
Court.
Of the 13,
Is the Supreme? Is the Supreme
yeah,
Court? Is the Supreme Court the
it.
executive branch?
We can overrule it. No, but that's if you said Christian nationalism.
I'm talking about Project 2025, which is executive branch.
Okay.
So, for example, let me give you an example of something that might be a problem. You're familiar with like the SEC, right?
Yeah, it's a 700, 800-page document. So yeah, what's a good example? SEC. Okay.
Okay. So
yeah, for sure. Security.
So, for example, like cryptocurrency should be regulated, right? The same way that any asset is.
I mean, yeah, like a capital gains.
Like any security, like any security, it should be regulated, right?
It should be a commodity, sure. I wouldn't call it. I don't know if commodities are securities, but sure, like the ETFs and stuff they make, of course. So in securities. In
Project 2025, they lay out this new framework, and the reason Project 2025 was scary is because it works. Because we have all of these like checks and balances, but the checks and balances only work if people actually respect their checks and balances. So you take the SEC, the FTC, the FEC, and you put in loyalists. And if you know how those groups work, you'll have a majority of the people that get to be appointed by the president, and then the opposition party gets to choose a minority of those people. Well, what unified executive theory does is it says, you know what? All these people actually work at the pleasure of the president. So the president can hire and fire any of these people. So you remove anybody from all of these groups that are meant to do regulatory practices, and you say loyalists only. That allows you to target your opponents and allows you to do crimes, which is how Donald Trump currently is running multiple Ponzi schemes through cryptocurrency that are absolutely illegal, that he's absolutely taking foreign donations for. And then those people that are giving him money through his cryptocurrency exchange are seeing their cases dropped by the Department of Justice. All these people running crypto scams have their crypto scams just dropped.
Why are you against the Trump meme coin?
Let me explain. I'm
not surprised.
I'll happily explain it. Donald Trump owns 80% of those tokens, right? The only way for those tokens to be more valuable is what?
People buy them.
People buy them. Great.
Yeah.
So, and then also he owns the exchange. So every time somebody buys a coin that increases the value of his coin, he also picks up a percentage. So he's getting between 1% and 3%. Estimates are he's made hundreds of millions of dollars off of that. Also, because it's cryptocurrency and because it's a blockchain, which is hard to track, and because his DOJ is not going to investigate any of this, Donald Trump can openly take bribes, which he did openly. He used his True Social account and the microphone to say, hey, the top 250 people that invest in this coin, you get a private meeting with me, the president of the United States. And he did it.
So wait. Is this why Elon Musk said to Trump, if we don't hang together or something, we're gonna hang together if we don't hang or something like that?
He said, if we don't win the election, like, I'm fucked, is what he said.
Like, we're gonna, yeah. Well, and no, it's recently, like, when they got the band back together and everybody's all
I
excited
think that
about,
probably has. I think that probably has to do with Epstein, and it probably has to do with the fact that they probably stole the election. Like, everything coming out looks like they absolutely cheated in the election. We'll see. I'm not willing to say that yet, but like, it could be. But either way, Donald Trump is running an open, like, bribery, like a bribery operation, and nobody's investigating it. That's never happened before, and Republicans don't give a fuck. Donald Trump has made somewhere between $10 and $15 billion in the last 9 months. He's made more money since becoming president than he has the rest of his life combined.
So how, like, where do you even start with a case like that? And I don't mean legally, I mean with you having come to that conclusion.
What conclusion?
That's a whole.
What conclusion?
Like, you just gave me the tip of the iceberg. Like, where's the rest of that iceberg?
What do you mean, where's the rest of the iceberg? People that bought his cryptocurrency had active DOJ investigations. Son, I forget his name, I forget his first name, but Son. He's Justin's son. He had an active investigation into him from I believe it was the FEC. Dropped. He's the biggest donor. Dropped. Elon Musk, when Trump took office, after Elon Musk had given him hundreds of millions of dollars to help him win, Elon Musk had something like 50 open and investigating complaints from the CFPB that would have clawed back millions of dollars for consumers who he cheated. Dropped it. All of his friends had cases against them. Dropped. Mark Andreessen. Dropped. Mark Zuckerberg. Dropped. He told all these people, you give me money and I will use my Department of Justice to drop investigations into you. He is the most corrupt president in this country by a trillion miles. It's literally not even fucking close. It was like Richard Nixon was next because Richard Nixon authorized a break-in of files. Donald Trump breaks the law every single day, but because he has a loyalist as Attorney General and a loyalist as FBI Director, he'll never be investigated for it. And he got the Supreme Court to rule that anything he did while he's president can't really be against the law. So even when he leaves, we're gonna have a hard time prosecuting him.
Yeah, and like, it looks like he has this like shell corp, Trump Family Ventures, run by his son, which is like, it's still like, I mean, by all reasonable understanding.
Look up World Liberty Financial.
Yeah, World Liberty Financial.
Okay.
It launched that. Issues
Google
tokens
right now.
Like Trump.
Google real quick. World Liberty Financial Qatar.
By the way, I was joking about the Trump meme coin, and there literally is a Trump meme coin.
And a Melania meme coin. Yeah, both of them.
Beyond parody.
And they launched 2 days before he took office. But Google right now, World Liberty Financial Qatar, and just tell me what the headline says.
World Liberty Financial, I'm going to have to Google it, not Bing it.
Qatar.
Trump crypto firm plans expansion with tokenized commodities.
Did you type in Qatar?
Yeah, and that's QATAR.
You read that story. The Qataris gave him They gave them $2 billion. They basically purchased $2 billion in tokens. Which, of course, with World Liberty Financial, they pick up a purchase. They pick up not like a fee for the purchase, but it also raises the value. Do you know what happened about a week later? Do you know if Trump had any executive orders regarding Qatar, like maybe a week later?
Oh, okay. So quid pro quo stuff. So what did he do?
He allowed Nvidia to sell their chips to Qatar. And then today, what did he announce with Qatar? He announced that any attack on the Qataris is an attack on America, and we will use our military to protect them.
Yeah, and I heard you say that earlier about like as if because Israel attacks Qatar from time to time. They've been known to do that, and like as if he's going to actually hit Israel. So again, it's like bluster, but
it's a protection racket.
Look, look, I would have voted for Bernie if he would have been in there in 2016, right? So
Yeah, but you should have
like,
voted
I
for
voted for-
Kamala. That's crazy. It's crazy to vote for Trump over
I don't know,
Kamala.
man.
It's crazy.
The like the bigger factors, you know, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed that the situation in Ukraine hasn't been stopped, which all it would take would be Trump saying to Ukraine, we're done. We're done funding you. You're going to have to give up that Donbass. And
It's interesting that you didn't point Trump's actions towards Russia, the invading country. It's interesting that you brought up Ukraine and not the invading country.
It's a real politic thing. I mean, you know, the fact is we can't go to war with Russia. They supply all of our
Russia can't go to war with us.
I'm not here. Pause really fast.
Man.
Here, William, pause real fast. Jay, we've got quite a few donations, and we're
I'm wrapping it
about
up.
100.
I'm wrapping
We
it
can
up.
wrap. Yeah. Hey, look.
No, I'm
just
yeah.
Sorry, Jen.
What? No, it's what I do. This is what I do. My thing.
Yeah.
So
I'll wrap and then come back on. We'll give it like a minute. I'll give you the last word here. Look into that stuff.
Yeah, 100%. Hey, look, good talk. I still maintain the position that, you know, I respect you. Today was the first time I saw your show. I like the vibe. I respect your attitude and the vigor at which you come to these things. Obviously, you know a lot and you have a certain perspective, and I really do appreciate it.
All right, appreciate it.
So thanks for having me on, man.
Thanks, man. It was good talking to you.
Likewise.
All right, Jen, I'll jump into the stream VC. Go ahead, Jen. Let me get a drink of water, and then I'll read these. Maybe not.
all right. So we've got about a half hour left of the show. We will be back again at 6 Pacific for date night with Admir. We'll be on TikTok. I'll have the guest requests open over there. So we'll be doing that later. If you haven't, like I said, the top left-hand corner, the total I show for us is 184 left in the gift goal. So if you guys could help us out, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Super Chat to knock out that remaining balance. Often when we have guests on, that I'm not able to pester as easily. So if you haven't already subscribed, please do so. If you're a paid member on any of the platforms, you can join us for member-only events. Like the last guest, I don't think we'll probably take any more today on this part of the show. But you can do what that last guest did, is DM me on Discord, same as the Venmo, and I could bring you on. Also check out the link tree. We're on most social media platforms. We've got merch, Jay's on Cameo, and we upload the episodes to Spotify. So what do you call a cult that's difficult to get into? Are you muted?
Oh, I'm muted. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry. Oh, I think somebody got it. Difficult?
Yeah, it is difficult. I meant to say it's hard to get into, and I said the wrong word. So,
Here we go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I said it wrong. Anyway.
I liked it. All right, let me read these. Jesse said, Trump is so stupid he makes Bush Jr. looks like a genius. Danielle said, statement from the White House official. Trump read all the shit they're asking for, and he said, on second thought, go fuck yourself. He's so embarrassing. Greg said, Trump relies on the ignorance and gullibility of his supporters and apathy. We need to use that word more. Steven said, guest has time to blow Trump, but not research. Tanya, thank you. Amy Lynn said, 76% of political violence comes from the right, only 4% from the left. That number right? 4%? Danielle said, I can't find anyone saying 1,200 immigrants were found. Danielle, I found that. I read it the other day. I don't think I covered it. Just look on. I don't know if it was all of them, but maybe I watched the video. Somebody had said that they had been moved to Montana. I'll double check that after. You may be right. I might have saw something unconfirmed. Tanya said, don't forget to smash that gift goal. Thank you. Amy Lynn said, most educated demographic in the U.S. is black women, not white men. It shows every day. FOD said, amazing breakdown of the privileged white victim. Jen said, he is doing thoughts and prayers. Thanks, Lolly. Beige Rage said, apathy is lack of interest, care, or concern. Thank you. Danielle said, even though we don't know for sure yet, we all appreciate you mentioning it. David Pakman recently had Nathan Taylor from ETA on to talk about 2024. I saw that, Danielle. Thanks for sending that to me. David Pakman treated it with even more kid gloves than I did, so I was glad to see I was slightly more brave than Pakman. Sala said the dude's parroting Curtis Yarvin scary. The scary part is that he didn't know who Curtis Yarvin was, which means Curtis Yarvin's ideology is getting out there. Doesn't know what democracy is. U.S. is falling apart because white people hate diversity. Fucking facts, man. They're so afraid of that. When he says people like me, he means white. Trump made fun of the military people and trans-military. I feel oh, I read that one. I feel jaded. No pun intended. And let's see. I think there's one here. Robin said, damn, I love listening to you school. MAGA dipshits. Thank you. From Birdie with the Husky. Thank you very much. Let me get that total here. Shit. Uh, 40 plus 20. I think that's right. All right, I think I did that math right. Thanks, Renee. Appreciate you. We have to. I do want to get through real quick. We might go a little bit over. We'll see. I need an updated number from Jen. Actually, that's not going to be the updated number. I do want to get through how Republicans are lying about this government shutdown, because they're absolutely lying, and I do think that information needs to get out there. Kim said, thanks for another day standing up for democracy. Ryan said, keep up the hard work for the values of democracy. Fuck the caller, lazy as fuck. Being said, is it time for the gay kissing part of the show yet? I'm not sure we're there yet. I think that's later with Admir. Okay. There. We're here. All right, so that's what's left of the gift goal. If you guys could help us knock it out, that'd be greatly appreciated. I will try and watch for the super chats as they come in, and get those in real time. But let's go to this. Mike Johnson. Here's the claim that we need to debunk. And here's Mike Johnson. God, I fucking can't stand Mike Johnson, because Mike Johnson is actually smart, and he does know that he's lying right here. And I've seen enough Mike Johnson that you can tell that he knows he's lying. And it's just a sad, pathetic existence that all these people are willing to go out and lie in front of the American people just to appease Donald Trump. And by the way, also hand over all of your control, all the powers that you've been granted as Speaker of the House in the legislative branch. You're just way too excited to give all that power to Trump.
This morning, the Democrats' proposal is designed to prevent millions of Americans from losing their health insurance, losing Medicaid coverage, or paying higher health care premiums. Why are you against that?
That's an absurd statement, what you said there. Let's be clear about what happened last night, George. No, George, let me tell you what happened last night. Everybody can go and review the facts for themselves. 44 Senate Democrats voted to reject a clean, nonpartisan continuing funding resolution to keep the United States government open. The Democrats said instead that they wanted to give health care to illegal aliens instead of keeping critical services provided for the American citizens. That's what happened.
The crazy thing is that this actually works on Republicans. That Republicans legitimately think that that's what our elected representatives are fighting for. Like, we have to shut down the government unless we give health care to people who are here illegally. That's insane. It's crazy that this even works, but that's how fucked up MAGA is. That's how far into the cult they are, that this actually works for them. They think this is a legitimate argument that our elected representatives are making.
Plain and simple. Every Democrat in the House, except one, voted against the clean continuing resolution. It was nonpartisan in nature. There are no policy writers on it.
I love how they say it's nonpartisan in nature. How is it nonpartisan in nature if this is split on partisan lines? I don't know why he keeps saying that. Republicans keep saying it's nonpartisan in nature. Clearly, there's an issue here that is partisan.
Republicans favor it. It's exactly what Chuck Schumer and other Democrats voted for in March. But they've changed their tune. They changed their tune because Chuck Schumer is having political problems right now. That's just a simple fact, and everybody knows it. He's trying to outrun the far left portion of his base, so he's decided to inflict pain on the American people.
The far left side of his base is growing right now. I guess maybe that's what they mean. Like, maybe that is what Mike Johnson's saying. He's wrong. Chuck Schumer is having those problems, but doing this isn't going to help.
Here are the facts. The proposal does not provide health care for illegal immigrants. Illegal immigrants cannot buy health care under the Affordable Care Act. They cannot receive health care subsidies. No. Illegal immigrants are ineligible for Medicare, Medicaid, and the Children's Health Program. The Democratic bill does not make them eligible.
It does, actually, because what it does is it unwinds the changes that Republicans put into the big, beautiful bill, the big signature legislation that we passed and signed into law on July 4th. That has been very successful in...
Let me be clear what just happened here. Stephanopoulos correctly says that you cannot use, or if you are not a legal resident or a citizen of the United States, you cannot access the healthcare benefits through the ACA. You can't access Medicare. And Johnson says that's not true because it undoes what we put in the one big beautiful bill. Well, the problem is what he's talking about in the one big beautiful bill was also a fucking lie, because in the one big beautiful bill they cut Medicaid and I believe this one, I think they're talking about the Medicaid cut here, and they said that they cut it because it was being used for illegal immigrants, which wasn't true. It wasn't true then, and it's not true now. It is true that Chuck Schumer is trying to undo those cuts because it's affecting American citizens, and they don't want to admit this. They're caught with their pants down. American citizens who should have access to Medicaid are seeing those benefits cut, and they're pissed. And they're coming to the Democratic leadership and going, what the fuck? And so the Democratic leadership sees an opportunity here where they need a continuing resolution, and they recognize we have a little bit of leverage here. So let's negotiate that shitty part of the one big beautiful bill that cuts Medicaid funding, and let's use our leverage to get them to restore that. So what Mike Johnson's saying here is, you know that lie that we told people that you all believed? We can't really go back on that because we told you that all we cut was funding for people who are here illegally, which is a fucking lie because it's not even possible to get access to Medicaid if you are here illegally. So he's doubling down on an old lie and saying that's what it means. That's the whole fucking game that they're playing right now. And for every Republican here, if you are saying that Mike Johnson is right, if I were you, I would shut the fuck up for the next 20 minutes because I have receipts and he's lying. And you won't believe it anyways because you're so dumb-dicked at this point that you're like, everything that the left says is a lie even if it's true. And you're just going to believe him. But if I were you and I had any pride at all, I would shut the fuck up because these cucked out little bitches who have secrets that they don't want out are being leveraged by Donald Trump. And the only reason they cut that Medicaid funding is so they could give bailouts to their billionaire fucking friends who have gone all around the world and all around the country for the last 15 years and wrote really shitty loans. And they have all these collateralized loan obligations that are about to hit default rates now. And when those default rates go up, their APR is going to go up and businesses are going to collapse. And the businesses are going to collapse, and that means that the loans that these billionaires gave out are going to go unfunded or unrepaid. And so Trump gave them a handout on the backs of poor people in America, and all he had to do was lie to you fucking dipshits that really the cut was towards illegal immigration, and you bought it because you're fucking stupid and you hate immigrants, and you wake up every day and you just get fear-mongered to, and it allows you to believe the dumbest fucking shit. It is not possible in this country under our laws to give access to Medicare or Medicaid if somebody is here illegally. It is not possible. It doesn't happen. It doesn't exist in any state where federal funding goes towards illegal immigration or funding people who are here illegally. It doesn't exist. I already showed you before that debate started that like Andy Biggs tried to play this game locally, on a local level and on a state level. They can choose to take taxpayer money and give taxpayer money to people who are here illegally. They can choose to do that, and some states do that very rarely, but no federal funds are used. So he's just lying.
And shoring up Medicaid for the people who are actually eligible to receive it. What we did in the bill, and the CBO just verified this 3 weeks ago, the Congressional Budget Office, the nonpartisan arbiters of everything up here, they said that those provisions have helped to reduce premiums. Why? Because we got ineligible recipients off of Medicaid, illegal aliens, and able-bodied young
All right, now he's lying again. The CBO said that it looks like you may lower premiums. You might have another premium adjustment coming, and it may lower not the premium, but the growth of the premium. But what the CBO didn't say is anything about illegal immigration. You can hear in his sentence how he adds that in. He actually fucks it up at first. And then he's like, oh shit, I forgot I'm supposed to blame illegal immigrants here.
Reduce premiums. Why? Because we got ineligible recipients off of Medicaid, illegal aliens.
That was a lie. You can go check it yourself. The CBO doesn't talk about anybody who is here illegally, who is receiving Medicaid. He's lying. And he caught himself there. He's good at this.
And able-bodied young men who are riding the wagon who are not eligible to be there. Medicaid is intended for specific populations of U.S. citizens. That is young, pregnant women who are down on their luck, the disabled and the elderly. Those resources are being drained.
Just so you know, if apparently, according to Mike Johnson, if you are young and you are a man, get fucked. Okay? No matter what happens in your life, it's only single mothers and elderly. So if you're a young man, you're fucked. No matter your condition, it's not made for you.
From those folks, and so we fixed that. We reduced fraud, waste, and abuse in the program. Chuck Schumer's counterproposal on the CR would reverse that. That is a simple fact.
The CBO did not say that about illegal immigrants. You've made your point right there. Let me ask you about.
Great fact check there by Stephanopoulos, but the CBO did not say that. Here, look at Brian Tyler Cohen. He goes and he talks to Mick Mulvaney, who was Trump's chief of staff, and this is a really cool look into the frailty and the protectionism of like the bureaucrat class. Mick Mulvaney is not a debater. Mick Mulvaney isn't a elected official, and so he's not used to people sitting in a room where people are going to combat what he says or argue about what he says. He's used to people just looking at him and going, "Oh, you must be an expert," and then he gets to walk out the room and collect a speaker's fee. Look what happens when he's caught not knowing what the fuck he's talking about.
I mean, when we talk about this idea that the government is too big, that there's too much spending, I mean, it is, Mick, it's your party. It's Donald Trump that is adding trillions and trillions and trillions to the debt because they want to give themselves tax cut. Donald Trump added
tax cuts for the rich. Yeah. We've had this conversation. All right.
We've had this conversation because it's the reality of the situation. I mean,
yeah. I know. We're gonna talk. That's what happened. Sorry. You cut money for poor people and you gave tax breaks for the rich. That's reality, Mick Mulvaney. He's not going to have an answer.
The Republicans just passed a budget bill that would add $4 trillion to the debt.
$4 trillion. I get it. Okay.
I mean, you can scoff it off, but it doesn't change the math.
Mick, it doesn't. But it doesn't move us where we are. Who's going to give up in this? The Democrats are going to give up because they're asking for something.
Well, I mean, don't change the subject. I mean, you brought up the fact that the government was too big, and so I said the government is too big because Republicans are spending too much, and you switched topics. So is it not the Republican Party that's added a quarter of all debt in Trump's first term, and that added $4 trillion because of this budget?
Mick, I'll give you the response now. Okay. No, I'm not going to talk about COVID and the bipartisan bills that passed. Look, if we want to talk about the government shutdown, we can, but I'm not going to debate a podcaster. So, okay.
This podcaster seems to be a lot smarter than Mick Mulvaney. There's the insult. I'm not going to address this. I don't know how to address this. And then here's the rest of it where he rage quits.
Not even agreeing on some of the facts here. You know, Trump says Democrats want to give health care to illegal immigrants. You have Democrats who say this is about Medicare and Obamacare. If it's not even agreement there, that's where the hesitation I have is. That's where I'm concerned that we're going to even see anything.
Mick, would you agree that not a single dime of ACA subsidies goes toward undocumented immigrants?
Would you agree with me that what the
please answer the question. It's not that hard to just answer the question.
Again,
I don't answer the question. Answer the fucking question, you pussy. Answer it. Well, I don't want to. I want to distract from it. Nobody ever talks back to me. I just get speaking fees and I come in and say whatever I want. What is this? What, he's going to ask me a question and expect that I answer the question?
We don't do this on this show. I don't know if you've ever been on here before, but we don't talk over. We're not here to yell at each other. I'm not going to do this anymore, Jesse.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Thanks.
All right. There you go. That's the answer right there.
No,
Can't even acknowledge it.
The answer was no. There's not a single dime that goes from ACA subsidies that is distributed to people without legal status here. Not one fucking dime. And that's why he rage quit, because he knows too. They all know it. Here's the official claim from the GOP. This is what they put out today. They said, here it is, Democrats are liars. And they're showing, this is their proof now, that Chuck Schumer is asking for money that will go to people who have no legal status here. This is the provisions for the repeal of health subtitle changes. And here's what they've highlighted for Medicaid. Section 711-109, alien Medicaid eligibility. There we go. They caught the Democrats lying, didn't they? Didn't they get us? Did they get us there, Republicans? Where's my Republicans in the chat? Is that the gotcha? This is what they're referencing. We now have exactly what Republicans are representing here. They're saying that Democrats are advocating for the reversal of the alien Medicaid eligibility. Does that mean that Democrats are advocating for money going to people with no legal status here? Come on, Republicans, where are we at? Is that what this is what they're claiming? This is their evidence. This is what they have funded. And by the way, it's not all state funded with this alien Medicaid eligibility. Okay. Eligibility. What does that mean? I looked at that and I said, I wonder what alien Medicaid eligibility is. What does that mean? Let's look at it. Here's JD Vance to explain it, and then I'll just explain it. Here's JD Vance lying.
This is a Democrat talking point. They say we're not actually trying to give health care benefits to illegal aliens, and here's why it's not true. There are two Biden-era programs that explicitly gave the taxpayer health care money to illegal aliens that we turned off when President Trump took over in January. Program number one is there's a lot of emergency health care at hospitals that are provided to illegal aliens. That was funded by the federal government. We turned off that funding because, of course, we want American citizens to benefit from those hospital services, not to be taxed and then to have those hospital services go to illegal aliens. The second of which is the Biden administration gave mass parole to millions upon millions of illegal aliens, and then they simultaneously made those parolees eligible for health care benefits funded by taxpayers.
You can't be a parolee if you are here illegally. He's talking about something called the CHNV program. And he's not going to name names because then people will be able to fact check this. There's a reason he's not naming what these programs are. But the Biden administration granted mass parole to certain groups of migrants through very specific programs. And the big one was the CHNV parole program. That's Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. The same, by the way, protection that Donald Trump gave Venezuelans on his way out of the office. What this did is, beginning in January of 2023, the program allowed up to 30,000 migrants per month from these countries who met specific eligibility criteria and had a U.S. sponsor to enter and reside in the U.S. legally for up to 2 years through parole. This resulted in over 500,000 individuals being paroled under the program, with totals exceeding 1 million people admitted on humanitarian parole for various groups during Biden's term. The CHNV parole program allowed Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans to enter the United States temporarily with work authorization, making them legal immigrants, provided, again, they had a U.S. sponsor and they passed a background check. That is a legal immigrant. He is saying illegal immigrant. That is somebody who is following the legal process. The Biden administration granted access to several government-run medical programs. Now we're getting into the weeds of it, including those granted parole, such as the mass parolees from that CHNV program. Notably, these programs include Medicaid and CHIP, which is Children's Health Insurance Program. According to recent approvals by CMs, many parolees, including children and adults, gained continuous eligibility for Medicaid and CHIP in several states like Colorado, Hawaii, Minnesota, New York, and Pennsylvania. These programs ensure that eligible individuals who have to be here legally, especially children, maintain uninterrupted access to essential health care services, including preventative, dental, vision, and mental health services. Parolees and eligible immigrants in general may also be eligible for programs like WIC, which provides, that's the Women's, Infants, and Children. It provides nutritional support. After 5 years in the United States, these parolees can be eligible for major federal welfare programs, which can include healthcare benefits like you would get through the ACA marketplace, depending on state policies and federal guidelines, although this is generally dependent on state-specific implementation because they get to decide where the money went. So what you're talking about here are mostly asylum seekers who have clean criminal backgrounds, who have a sponsor in the United States who vouches for them, who, while they are waiting for the backlog, are eligible to get help. That's it. And then the other part of this is simply just the funding for hospitals. And when they say, just think of how this mechanism would work. If a hospital is taking, like an emergency room, if they're taking in people, basically what the Trump administration has said is, if this person is not here legally, we will not reimburse you. And that puts the hospitals in a weird spot where suddenly they have to be law enforcement. And so the provision that was added by Republicans was basically made it impossible for hospitals to provide this care. And that means people who don't show up to the hospital with the proper documentation, they might not get care. They might die. And people with proper documentation might not be seen. Why? Because nobody walks around with that. And now you're asking the hospital to have people prove their citizenship. That's what and that is a very small amount of money. So basically what the Democrats have said is, we guaranteed these people access to health care during their parole program. We guaranteed it, and you guys took it away. And it wasn't about people who were here illegally. They're not taking jobs. They're passing background checks. There's somebody here in the United States that's vouching for them. So whatever you guys want to say, whether you agree with these programs or not, I don't care. We could have that debate whether these are good programs or not. But what we can't disagree about is these motherfuckers are lying to you. And I'm not watching the comments right now, but I can only imagine that the people in the comments are like, oh, so that's a good thing? Oh, so that's a good thing? Oh, we should give money to them? Nah, we can have that discussion, but the discussion we're going to have first is, why are these motherfuckers lying to you every fucking day? And why are you mad at me and us and the Democrats instead of the motherfuckers that lie to you every day? Why doesn't it bother you that someone lies right to your goddamn face every day and you still put on that dumb fucking hat? Oh, these guys are great. I really love them. The cool thing about them is they lie to me, and then when it's proven that it's a lie, I just pretend that I don't care about that and that actually it was some nuanced conversation. If they were honest, they would come out and they would be like, look, here's what they're asking. Here's what Democrats are asking for. They're asking for a return to this funding that was given to parolees. But they can't be honest. And you know why they can't be honest? Because you guys that are here, that watch my show, that don't agree with me politically, you guys are going to do whatever they say. You are cucked to the max. You don't have a thought of your own. You're just going to follow what they say anyways. But there's other Republicans, and there's other independent voters. And those people care about things like integrity. They care that when somebody comes here and we promise them something, that we don't rip it away from them. They care that these are poor people who don't have any other options, who are here oftentimes from no fault of their own, just escaping persecution, and they came to America. And why wouldn't we let them go see a doctor? Why not? So this angry, arrogant messaging that you guys love, like when we talk about these policies and you still disagree with me, that's fine. You can disagree with me. That's what America's about, having a disagreement. But the reason that they're not saying it is because they are liars. They know that this is not popular. So I just want to be clear on this. When they say the Democrats shut down the government because they want to pay for illegal immigrants to have health insurance, they're fucking lying to you. And they're lying to you because they want you to hate Democrats. Otherwise, they'd just tell the fucking truth. They released the truth. But what they didn't release the truth for a while. They all had to go out there on TV and tell you this, so that when they released that it said alien, all of you reflexively went, oh, illegal. Yeah, alien means illegal. Yeah. See. You didn't do any of that research. So right now, there's going to be federal employees all over this country who can't feed there's going to be soldiers, National Guardsmen. There's going to be tons of people who can't feed their families, all because of a lie that they're telling you. Because if they told the truth, they would lose on the government shutdown. Public perception would change. It would be against them. And the reality is, once again, they wanted to shut down the government. It's in Project 2025. And by the way, they're going to get in trouble for this too, because they think that these powers that are given to them when the government shuts down are absolute. They are not. This is very much in question. They're stating this, and I think our media is doing us a disservice by saying, oh, when the government shuts down, then the executive branch has the broad ability to just like cancel whatever programs they deem unnecessary. Kind of. They are allowed to shut down programs that aren't necessary currently, but they're talking about eliminating these programs altogether. And I've done the research. I don't think they have that authority. I don't think that when the government is shut down, the congressional authority just slides to the executive branch. I don't believe that. I see no indication that that is true. I think a lot of people are very confused by this, and Project 2025 was ahead. So what you don't have right now is a bunch of constitutional scholars coming out and debating this. It's just a bunch of news anchors who can't find another source saying they can't do this. Can they do this? Yeah. Is it legal? I don't think so. And will there be court battles about this? For sure. But just ask yourself that question. Do you think this was by design? Do you think that this is an intelligent way to design our government? That if the two parties can't agree on something and we have a government shutdown, that an unelected bureaucrat gets to choose which departments stay and go? I'm sorry. Did you guys forget about Doge? I'm sorry, did you forget about the first part of this president where you're like, these fucking unelected bureaucrats, nobody elected them to do anything. They have too much power. We got to strip away their power. We got to strip away their money. And then 9 months later, the Republicans are like, well, if we shut down the government, then these unelected bureaucrats actually get to do whatever the fuck they want. And you're like, yeah, take that, libs. There's no principles in this party. There's no principles with any of you. They lie to you every fucking day and you just swallow it. Just give me some more, daddy. That's what's going on with our government shutdown. Don't let Republicans tell you that it had anything to do with illegal immigration, and consistently point them back to Project 2025 when, oh, they just must be like fortune tellers. They just foresaw this coming. We wrote it down because we knew that in 2025, we would have a government shutdown where Democrats would want to fund health insurance for people who are here illegally. Yeah, that likely happened. Yeah, or it was a plan the whole fucking time, and the guy who wrote it is the guy who's in charge of cutting it right now. And just so you know, Republicans, those of you who aren't Christian nationalists, the guy that's doing all this cutting, you know what he wants to cut? He wants to cut all the things that get in the way of the church having power. That's what they're about to cut. They're about to cut any regulation that stands in the way of Donald Trump. It's time for you cucks to just admit it or stop being cucks. I'd appreciate it if you do that. Devin said, I don't know, man. Call me a radical lib, I guess. But I think even the Dems wanted illegals to have health care. That would be fine. Everyone should have it. Yeah. How bad would that be? 64% of non-disabled on Medicaid work full time. As usual, we're subsidizing rich folks to not pay the worker. That's such an important stat. And those people that are working full-time and are on Medicaid, many of them are seeing their Medicaid cut, and they can't afford anything else. So they just don't get to see doctors anymore. But great news, guys. Elon Musk gets to keep more of his money. Hooray! Amy said Trump launching Trump RX. Wonder how much he's going to get for that. Is that privately owned? I thought that was government owned. I don't know. And thank you, Renee. Check over here. Crow, good to see you. Crow said, tell Jen to stop begging. Thanks, brother. It's good to see you. Everybody, W Crow and Arrow in the chat there. I know maybe he's not everybody's favorite, but he's always been nice to me. Susan said, great show. Did I get that? Oh, Sarah said, I don't have time, goes up on a live for an hour. Did I not read that before? He's a white Christian nationalist, simple. I don't think I read those before, but they came in earlier. Let me check with Jen, and then we'll get out of here. Good. I love that you guys are loving Crow. I love that you guys say that you love Crow. He got a little bit fucked by Mr. Jones there. Mr. Jones used Crow as a shield for a lot of things, and I think that Crow took a beating for stuff he shouldn't have taken a beating for. Thank you, Tim. And Christy said they didn't even blame it on illegal aliens then. It was lazy people who didn't want to work. Thank you, Izzy. I think I read that from Kim. Is Trump? Let's see. Is Trump RX? I thought it was a government-run program. What is Trump RX? Let's look that up before we go. Literally, the first thing is USA Today. What is Trump RX? We're all asking the question. Participate in a new government direct-to-consumer sell website, Trump RX, which is expected to launch at the beginning of next year, will allow patients. Yeah, I think it's government-run. It's just confusing because it says Trump RX. What is Trump RX? Is a direct consumer website for Americans to buy drugs. It would allow people to pay cash for certain drugs directly from the government website. Yeah, so he shouldn't be getting money for that. I can't imagine he will, but don't put it past him. He's probably like he probably owns the like web hosting or something. All right. Jen,
Hey, will you double check PayPal?
Yeah. I don't even know if it's like he needs his name on everything. He does, but it's like I don't even think he's asking for it. I think people just know at this point that like if they say his name, put his name on something, that he'll just approve it because he's a dipshit. Asa Sophia said guests should do more research on today's issues on what's happening in the USA. This is beautiful. By the way, Asa Sophia is from Iceland and knows more about our country than I think probably every MAGA I've ever talked to combined. Never excuse to not have time. Give yourself a time. As I live in Iceland, I fact check Icelandic politics, U.S. and European ones. I love your show. So well researched. Appreciate you. Thank you, Sophia. Good to have you back from vacation. We missed you desperately. You don't trust this regime, Cherry? You're kidding. What's not to trust about this regime? They're good. He's a brilliant man, that Donald Trump. All right, everybody. We'll be back at 6, right, Jen?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll be back at 6 p.m. Marlene said, EMTALA, a federal law says no one in urgent need can be refused by ED. What's ED? I know one version of ED. What's ED? Emergency something? What's ED? What is Marlene talking? Or was it emergency department? Okay. I guess I always hear emergency room. Emergency department, of course, makes sense. Emergency room makes no fucking sense. Why do we call it emergency room? That's weird. Nor should they be refused. I love that. Lee says, love the dragnet. Diet Pepsi says, let's fucking go. Brian said, turning away poor sick people, just as Jesus would have wanted. And Mary says, come on, chat, let's wrap up the goal. We did wrap up the goal. I appreciate you guys. I didn't update it, but we did wrap it up. All right, guys, we'll be back at 6 on TikTok and here on YouTube. Do we stream it to Twitch too, Jen?
Yes, we do.
Okay. On Twitch, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'll be doing debates for 3 or 4 hours. And then tomorrow, just remember, show will be 2 hours, and we're going to start, let's say 10 o'clock. We'll plan on 10 o'clock tomorrow, and it'll just be from 10 to 12, a little bit shorter show. And that's what it'll be going forward on Thursdays. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Jen. Thanks to the world's greatest mods. And thanks for all of our MAGA friends for being here today. It was very enjoyable to have you. We all love you very much. And we can't wait to see you again tomorrow. Take care of yourselves, guys. Drink some water between now and later tonight. Stay cute and cool. And have a great summer.